Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Coming to you in true .4K. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on this Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I certainly did. I'm Jay Crawford. Later in the show, we're going to be discussing the toughest Cleveland athletes of all time. Brad, I had you number 2.
Oh, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, right? All right, listen, I'm going to be getting to the show. I'm going to talk about J. Ram down the stretch here. Because he's with the Indians. You thought he was going to be out sometime. He was like, I'm not going to be out anytime. I'm not missing anything.
Dude's a robot.
This is my moment in life.
Oh, I'm going next?
Yeah, go ahead, D-Bush.
Oh, okay. Well, you listen, since we're here, I'm going to tell you why my hat is fly. You might want to get one of these, but you ain't got this where you come from. But I will also tell you.
Where the hell did you get it?
Hey, listen. Hey, the only people that got me this hat right here is Case Keenum and me.
Ooh.
Oh, that's exclusive company.
So you know what it is, man. I'm going to tell you why. What I learned from the Cleveland Browns Bahama team photo, boy, I picked some gems out of that. I'll tell you what I learned when I saw that.
That's a great pick, by the way.
Look at that hat.
Look at that hat. That's the official backup quarterback hat of your Cleveland Browns.
There you go.
Clipboard status right here. You get a pin and one of them nice felt pins, them good quality ones you shine your name with.
Yeah.
You get that in this.
Bull, who are you today?
I am former Oakland A's infielder Shooty Babbitt. You remember him? There's about 3 people that remember him. I'm going to teach you how to dance with the white man's overbite. I'm also going to tell you why Will Fuller would be a great addition to the Browns.
I like that, by the way.
The white man's overbite?
No, I want to put a moratorium on the white man's overbite.
Okay.
I better never see that on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show again. I did throw up a little
This is
bit
how
in my
every
mouth.
white guy dances at the club.
Hey.
That's all we do. Maybe a little of this.
Mikey McNuggets.
Oh, my God.
What are you looking forward to today?
That's how they
Hopefully
be,
no
too.
more bull dancing.
Good.
No, we don't
you
want
can't
that.
unsee that. Cannot
And now the
unsee
camera
it.
works, and I got a top 5 list that I think a lot of people are going to like today. So we're going to get to it. The Ultimate 5.
Any hints to what it's going to be, or just watch and win?
Yeah, things I don't understand.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that could be a lot.
Yeah.
I got something I don't
You're a young
understand,
man.
something I got to crush a couple of our employees for, but I got to save it apparently.
You got to save it.
Okay.
Save it,
I'm
Bull.
going to save it
We'll
because
get
I'm
to
very
it.
fired up about this.
Also, I want to take this second to tease at the end of today's show.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to tell you who is our super guest for the week. We love all of our guests, but we've got a big one coming up on Wednesday's show. We talked about it briefly at the end of Friday's show.
Yes.
And we're going to reveal who that guest is Wednesday. It's somebody that I know a lot of our watchers are going to be interested in hearing from. All right, on that, we dive into our menu today. And first up is, it has to be, Jadeveon Clowney is coming back to the Cleveland Browns. I think we all were waited with bated breath. What's he going to do? Is he going to come back? Is he going to sign somewhere else? According to reports, he signs another 1-year contract. The value of this deal is said to be around $11 million for the 1 year. There are other reports, guys, that he turned down more money from other teams. So he clearly wants to be in Cleveland. In fact, if you take a look at some of what he's saying about this, Jadeveon Clowney, this is according to a tweet from Brad Stainbrook. He says that Jadeveon Clowney told Deshaun Watson he enjoyed playing for the Cleveland Browns organization before Watson ultimately decided to waive his no-trade clause to be traded to Cleveland. Clowney is now reunited with Watson. They, of course, played together for some years in Houston. And also, we want you to weigh in on this. Using only a GIF, we want you to send what your reaction is to the Browns re-signing Jadeveon Clowney. We've already got a ton of them. We're going to go through some of them in just a little bit. But, Bull, let's start with you.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody couldn't love this move, but tell us why you love it.
Well, I love it mostly because it's a 1-year deal. Jadeveon Clowney's track record of staying healthy is very questionable, similar to this other player we're going to talk about a little bit, Will Fuller. But he played really well. You know, when Jadeveon Clowney came into the league, we thought he was going to be what Myles Garrett is, right? Now, he's not that player. Nope. But as a Robin, as a number 2 guy, he's excellent, one of the best in the game. And although a few weeks ago, we talked about Landry versus Clowney. If you had to bring one back, I had said Landry. I think I was in the minority opinion there. I still wanted Clowney to come back. In the end, on a defensive line that before they brought in Clowney was the most unproven, unknown group on board, to get now their second best player, or at least their second most proven player on the D-line, I think it's huge. By the way, one other note on this. We mentioned on the graphic there that Mary Kay Cabot had it first, which she did, so kudos to her.
Yeah, great job.
She beat the national media on that. I wonder if anybody, I feel like only us media members care about that
That's
stuff, right?
so inside baseball, Bull.
Yeah.
We care.
We care.
But nobody else.
We want to give them credit.
Now,
and
look, if you have a track record of breaking stories,
Yeah.
like Adam Schefter for a stretch broke everything first. Now
But
it's different.
Isn't Schefter or Rappaport being given some of that stuff by other reporters?
Well, sure, but
Which is lame,
that's from
but-
spending a lifetime covering these
Yeah.
guys and building those relationships.
Yeah.
They're getting these stories because they've built relationships over the years.
Yes.
And they have all kinds of inside relationships with every team. So there are a couple of go-to guys.
Right.
I always think it's super tough on the local media just because
Yes.
most of these sources want to make the splash, and they go to the Schefters or the Rappaports or the Pro Footballs because they know that it's gonna be out there immediately.
Especially the last couple of years with COVID and the lack of access
Yeah.
to the locker room.
It was tough.
It's made it hard to cultivate those local relationships.
Brad, you love this move. Why?
Oh, man, let's talk about the building blocks. You know, I have refrained from going to a Super Bowl. As much access I've never been
because
to.
you want your first to be a Browns.
It's going to be a Browns, period.
Wow.
Right. I've refrained from going, right? Even when it's been close to me, I've refrained from going, right? And you talk about the building blocks here. So let's talk about the building blocks. Clowney comes back to Cleveland because Myles Garrett is on the other side.
Absolutely.
Right? You start Clowney, Garrett, Owusu, Koromora, cornerbacks.
The back
Ward,
end of the defense is
Ward,
solid.
Newsome, right? We are starting to put together the pieces, right? The offensive side of putting together the pieces. Now, here, we still got a little ways to go, but when you talk about building championship contending teams, I'm just not talking about teams that win the division. Championship contending, you need pieces. That's why you would leave $3 or $4 million on the table, right?
Yeah.
Because you're thinking that you're going to get it in the long run. Coming back here, you might take a little less now, but if this thing really parlays itself, you're going to parlay yourself into something bigger.
Yeah,
right?
you can you can make $3 million less, and if you win a Super Bowl, you'll make that up.
Right.
Especially for a guy like Clowney. G. Bush, you love it?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what I love that, but I love this. Man, check a look at this. He got that. You dug into the mayor's wardrobe.
That's one of the finest
That
pieces of
joint.
Cleveland sports wardrobe we've had.
Oh
on the show.
my goodness, he wasn't playing no
Hey,
more.
G. Bush, I asked him where he got it, and he tried pulling a curveball like you in the hat.
Chief of staff.
Hey, I'm not telling.
He got that Men in Black thing. Chief of staff, hey, bring me down the coffee and a brand new blouse jacket. Brand new.
I want the all-black hoodie. I want
All
it
black.
now.
I want the militant version, all black. Black on
Fresh.
black.
I like it a lot.
And the matching hat to go. I just don't have it on.
You can get your hat off in a bit. You new to this. You get your hat on for the first segment, take it off. That's how you got to do it. But listen, just like we got that dynamic duo working, Clowney and Myles Garrett is back.
Yeah.
You know what? I was looking at the stats and the average get off. I'm a D lineman at heart. The average get off for Myles Garrett is .76. Do you know that's less than a second? Now you look at Jadeveon Clowney. He's not as agile and he's not as quick as Myles, but his is under a second too, .96. When you look at the amount of hurries, the amount of tackles, the amount of sacks that you can get, when you got two guys like that, it unlocks a whole lot of different things you can do. Now, look, you got Chase Winovich. Now you can put him on the outside. You got a couple other guys like Wright who might be a guy that you can kick these two down, these guys, in that Greyhound package.
Yeah.
Now you get Garrett in the 3 technique. You can get Clowney in the 3 technique. Now we can rush the quarterback. This is exactly why Jadeveon Clowney was essential because of that guy right there, because he gets his money off too.
See what happens when you throw in the young, hungry dudes.
I didn't even talk about Perry.
Right, the hungry
And Clowney also really good.
nobody knows.
Right.
Clowney also an underrated part of his game because you don't see the stats for it really. He is a really good run defender for an end, which usually you think of the
I think he's
defensive
above
tackle.
average run defender for your typical, for a guy that's known more for rushing the passer.
Right.
To your point on, you throw these guys on the opposite ends, and it opens up all kinds of schemes to bring pressure up the middle. We haven't talked about Chase Winovich on this show yet. I'm really glad you brought him up because I've wanted
Just
to bring
thinking
him
the
up
same
a
thing,
number of times. Here's a guy who for whatever reason, I think very few guys that Bill Belichick has ever released gone on and went on to do great things. The guy that usually he'll take a guy like a Mike Vrabel,
Right.
who the Steelers tried with and couldn't get anything out of, and he goes to New England and he puts together a career that you can say is close to a Hall of Fame conversation career. He was so versatile there. When a guy gets out of the Patriots system, you've usually seen their best football, but I think this is going to be different. I think Chase in this system with these pass rushers is going to eat.
Yeah.
And I loved him at Michigan.
He was
I thought
good
he was
a couple
tremendous
years
at Michigan.
ago, right? And
he started to look like he
Yeah.
was going to be that guy in the
And then
NFL,
they
and then
stopped
last
using
year
him. Who
he
knows
fell
what
out of
happened.
favor.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes guys will do that. You get in Bill's doghouse, and that's a wrap.
He might
You're
never
done.
come
You,
out.
you don't get your way out of it. So I love this move because it shows that everybody thought that Jadeveon was all about the money, right? Everyone knew he wanted to do a one-year deal, bet on himself. There clearly wasn't a market out there for him before that for a 2 or a 3-year deal because his track record has been he can't stay healthy. He played 14 games last year. He notched 9 sacks. When you take a look at it, a one-year deal is kind of a show-me contract. He did that last year. Reports are he had multiple-year offers and decided to come here. It tells me that maybe he's not all about the money after all, because allegedly one of these offers was for more money
Right.
than what the Browns ended up paying him. He perhaps is looking at this saying, I'm in the back half of my career for sure.
Right.
What defines a player, when you start talking about Hall of Fame, winning that ring, everybody says it. Well, you know, Dan Fouts was a great quarterback, but never got that ring. Even Dan Marino. Now we're talking about quarterbacks
Yeah,
here.
sure.
But it holds true for pass rushers.
people
He
take-
can rewrite his legacy if he stays here and wins a ring.
People take less money as you get longer in the tooth.
Yeah.
Right? Because you want to remember yourself as a winner. You want to be in a winning environment, right? So obviously to come back here, he feels like the nucleus and the makings are here.
He
right?
believes in this
He
team.
believes this thing, right?
Yeah.
So now, if you can get everybody to buy into it, right? And why not do it here with a team that's knocking on the door? Everybody saw it last. You had all the pieces.
The
right?
defense
It also
did
tells
really
you he
well.
really believes in Deshaun Watson.
He does. And what's really interesting is the Browns have never been a team that people took less money to come play.
Yeah,
with.
right.
Never. They were
Right.
the team. The Browns have always been the team that had to pay extra to get a decent player here. The fact that Clowney, if in theory, I mean, I'll be honest. I mentioned this in our pre-show meeting. I'm a little skeptical of these less money, and there have been multiple reports. Then that's a really good sign for what he and others think about this organization. And remember, last year, the defense did not get off to a good start. Why? Because there were a lot of new faces. And now this year...
But they gelled at the end, man.
Right. Second half of the season, they were great for
Which
the
you
most part.
expected was gonna
Which
take
we
time.
expected.
Yeah.
But this year, most of the guys on this defense have been here
Yeah.
at least a year now.
And the guys that have been hurt in the back end of the defense are healthy.
Right.
At the moment,
Let's-
they are.
let's hope they stay
and
healthy.
There should be a lot more continuity, and I think we should see them play. There's been so much talk about quarterback, deservedly
Sure.
so. But I think the defense should be a top 10 unit from beginning to end.
I hope so.
Even
Yeah.
with some question marks up front and at linebacker.
Totally agree. I think going back to him taking less money, hey, you know, when I was approached about this show to even come do the show, I had a corporate job. I said, okay, this is cushy. I work at home.
Yeah.
I got my laptop. I don't do much. But sometimes the opportunity is better than the money.
Right.
Because the opportunity
Right.
can build something bigger than the money you're getting right now. You can be put in a position that you can elevate and that you can really do something really great. So
The
just like
chance to work with Bull is worth $11
I mean,
million.
you know,
I mean, right there. Right there. So
$11
now you're
million,
stuck.
right?
That's right.
We got that, and at least maybe we might get some Jordans from OG over here. I don't know, Mike, if you're listening, like we like your shoes, bro.
Size 12. Send them our way.
15, like we can get them, but nah, he says, and plus he might not be giving away too much money. Don't look at it that way. Think about it. You get to a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
possibly win something.
Sure.
Or if he ends up with, right now, last year he had 9 sacks, 41 total for his career. That's almost 10% of his production in 1 year.
And it's RG, but it's relationships as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He has this relationship with Myles Garrett. He probably developed a relationship with Joe Woods. And he's got a relationship with Deshaun Watson, which you referenced with the tweet.
Sure.
And so he's like, oh, I know Deshaun Watson's great, and he's the quarterback. I know Myles Garrett's great, and he's the guy that's going to help me get less double teams. I might as well stay here and have success because in the end, yes, it's about being happy, being in the right place. And yeah, some guys take every last dollar, and sometimes that's a mistake.
Yeah, I think the one word that I would use to sum up this is he's motivated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seems that way,
So
yeah.
we saw what he could do last year when he was playing for a contract. I think that motivation gets the best out of him as it does for other guys. You see guys sign 5-year deals and they go to sleep.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they get into the end of their deal and everybody thinks that they're in their twilight, and then they spring back to life and they're playing like they did 5 years ago. Playing for that contract can mean a lot. So I think there's really nothing to not love about this move, because they were weak at the defensive line.
Yes,
I mean,
no
outside
doubt.
of Myles Garrett, who's it doesn't matter if you've got one all-time great player on that line, but you have a bunch of guys next to him.
Right.
It's tough.
And
It's doubles and triples all
And
all
Dominic
game.
and Sue, if you listening,
Yeah, I
it's
thought the
your
same thing.
assistant GM, big homie over here. I got the direct line to Andrew Berry. Come on over here, big
He
fella.
brings some nastiness
Come
too.
on.
that
Yeah,
they can
he
use.
does.
You want to rush the passer? You gonna be definitely getting singled up.
You
What
want
are
to
the-
kick the
what are
center
the-
in the head? Go ahead and do it.
What are the other AFC North quarterbacks going to be thinking if
Detroit.
Ndamukong Suh decides to come to Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean, he's a big
Can you
threat.
imagine?
Yeah.
How are you going to block these guys?
And angry Perrion Winfrey, he has anger issues. Just keep that on the field between the whistles, big fella. But I like that angerness. Like, that is what we're talking about. And guess what?
Yeah.
Now I'm fully ready to say this. If Deshaun Watson does get 4 games, I'm completely cool with the first 4 games. I got a defense. I got a running game.
You gotta win
I
differently.
I got play action. You know, I think we're going to be just fine. We're going to be just fine with them 4 games right there.
If
It's
it is
an
4
easy
games,
schedule, too, at the beginning.
And even if you went 2-2, you know, which you'd hope to do better because the schedule's not great, you could survive 2-2 when
Absolutely.
7 teams make the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, no question.
You know, we'll see, and that suspension is going to be coming down soon, I think.
I think it feels
In the
like we're
next
closer
month.
to it than
Yeah.
ever before. Mikey McNuggets, what is the internet saying? We asked for gifts to describe the Clowney signing. Do you have anything good?
Oh, we got over 180 responses. It's our most replied to tweet in UCSS history.
There you
So
go.
shout out to the award-winning fans
Twitter's undefeated.
for coming up. Steve, let's pull up the initial tweet just so people know what we're referring to. Yep, take that. Using only a GIF, not a GIF, a GIF. What's your reaction to Jadeveon Clowney re-signing with the Browns?
All right, let's see what you got.
And Steve, let's cut to the first one right here.
I feel like this needs music.
We have music, actually. Steve, you want some
All right,
music?
no, that's beautiful. I'm digging those sparkling wings.
I got a big problem.
What's
Keep
up?
your stupid vegetable tray out of my Super Bowl Sunday.
Wait, you're on a diet.
I know that, but if we're
Bull,
Super
we
Bowl,
eating that week. If they go to the Super Bowl, we
the
eat
Browns
that
are in the Super Bowl. I'm not eating carrots and celery.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Come
I
on now,
guarantee you.
even you're not.
I'm breaking the calorie bank for that game. What else do we have?
You asked for music, we deliver
And it's
music.
perfect. It's exactly what I was looking for.
All right, Steve, let's cut to the next one. I know this man is too.
That works. Just rip through them, man. Give us the best ones you
All
got.
right, let's go. We got 2 more, Steve. Let's cut right to the next one.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Right.
And we got 1 more, Steve. Let's get to the last one. Betty White dab.
Oh,
Favorite of all the gifts we got. The
God
Betty
rest
White
her
dab.
soul,
That's
baby.
pretty good.
God rest her soul.
That's pretty good.
By
right
the
there.
way, Betty White, like probably 50 years ago, was fine.
Yeah, she
Betty
was a
White
smoke
was
show.
fine.
I think more like 70 years.
Right,
Hey, look,
Check him.
I'm just saying, 50.
Unless you're into that.
Hey,
Check
listen,
his
there's nothing
glasses.
wrong with a seasoned woman.
No, there's nothing at all.
I mean,
Listen,
look, Faith Hill is like what? She's getting to be close to 60. She's going.
Faith Hill
There's a
Halle
next
difference.
to
Berry,
Betty
how old is
White
she?
when they were both 55.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
How old's Halle Berry?
Well, she's
Timeless.
Gorgeous.
She's the bar setting
Yeah.
standard. She has the skin of a 13-year-old.
My goodness.
I don't care how she's
Shout
gonna be hot at 75.
Shout out to Nia Long. She's like 100. And she just don't age. Like, she's 98.
Nia's not 100.
Nia Long,
No,
but
she's not 100. She's not 100.
Yeah,
all
you're
right?
just gassing it
I gotta
out.
Google.
Betty
here.
White, though. Betty White in her
playing here.
day, she was a beautiful actress. And what a career. I mean,
Yeah.
she
Talk
died just a
about
couple
it work
days short of
today.
100.
Betty White being hot.
yeah,
50 years
Betty
ago.
White 50 years ago.
Tweet
check
that
it
out there. See what your followers think.
Hey,
of that.
they love that.
Betty
Oh,
White
Nia
was a
Long
smoke
is-
show 50 years ago.
What is she from, Neil Long?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah, a lot more than you think.
All the above letters.
She's not
Everything.
100. She's probably like 50, Jay.
Yeah,
What are
yeah,
you
it's a
talking
me.
about?
See, he's hyperbole.
Dude, she's from Brooklyn. She was.
Halle Berry's 55, by the way. 55.
Stop.
What?
Why do all the New Yorkers be like they got to be from Brooklyn? I like
Yeah,
that.
Brooklyn.
They like to get an extra pump on that.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
from
just
Brooklyn.
saying, maybe we grew up together. I don't know.
No, she did not go to your school.
What do you mean she did not go to my school?
PS 110.
I went to school with all white people?
PS 110.
You know, back in the day when we used to be sitting there, like us poor people sitting on the porch, we walk by, some car go there, be like, that's my car.
Right.
That's my, no, that ain't your car, that's my car. They look at him like, what the hell is he talking about?
I know what you're talking about. It's not your car.
I saw your car and I was like, that's my car.
She was in L.A. by the time she went to high school. Too bad.
See?
She left.
Yeah.
She left.
She went
Left
up
us in
All right,
Brooklyn.
so are we going to show more of those later in the show? You've got 180 of them.
Yeah, we can. We have tag board training today, so we'll be able to do that live soon. We have to edit those in, so
Nah, we
we'll
ain't
get
got
Anthony or Brianna to work on that. But
What is tag board training?
it's going to pretty much be an output from my laptop. So we'll be able to pull them up straight on my laptop right
so
into
it's
the
gonna-
system.
This will change your life.
Game changer.
Media companies have like training for people every day.
Oh,
there's,
you
there's
can't even-
always a training.
You can't even begin to understand.
These executives, the big
Yeah.
shots
I don't
like
want to hear
Mike.
Bull complaining because he doesn't have to sit in any of the trainings.
Well, I'm not.
It's me and my team
I
in the
know.
trainings.
That's right.
It's all the behind the scenes.
No,
They're
I have
doing
to do them
trainings
like every
8
other
seconds.
week at Channel 3.
Ridiculous.
You know, and it's stuff that Steve and I, our director, were talking about this earlier. He had to do one over the weekend. When you take the test to get the certificate at the end of the training, you could pass 100% without having sat through the 3-hour
Oh, I've
training
done that
course.
for years.
Because
Next.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, we got 3 minutes. Let's do a little Will Fuller real quick, then we'll get Tim on about Tim Fuller.
Oh,
and
Tim
all the other
Couch
stuff.
coming up at 11:30.
Tim Couch coming on,
right?
and he's
Yeah.
on right now.
Okay.
He's got a setup, but we'll get
Okay.
Tim live about 3-4 minutes. Let's talk about Will Fuller.
Yeah, Bull, you take this one because you saw this over the weekend and you got very excited about
I
it.
saw Josina Anderson
Yes.
tweeted. I don't think she was reporting news, but she suggested, could the Browns be looking down
Yes.
the road of Will Fuller? And when she tweets something, I pay attention because to me,
She gets it.
she's the most connected to the players of any reporter.
We're going to try to get her
covering
on the
football.
show, by the way.
Yeah, she's awesome. So here's the tweet. Will be interesting to see if the Browns can snag free agent Will Fuller, who already has chemistry with Deshaun Watson, as well as his former teammate between 17 and 20. Now, Will Fuller has an even worse injury history than Clowney, really.
He does.
I think the most games he's ever played was 14. That was his rookie year. I don't think he's played more than like 9 or 10 since then. So you can't give him much guaranteed money.
Nope.
But now last year I think he played like one game, so he barely played. But when he's been on the field between 16 and 21, he has always been scary good.
His talent's never been a question. Never. But
Blows the top off
his
the defense.
availability
Right.
is
But
always
if
a
you
question.
can get him at a cheap guaranteed rate with a ton of money in incentives, I don't care if he makes 15 with incentives. You pay him $2-3 million guaranteed.
You'd love to pay a guy 15 if he hits his incentives.
Exactly. He has something like, I know they brought in Schwartz for his speed and stuff like that. But he's a guy that, if Amari Cooper's, working underneath or David Bell is working underneath, that you could just deep
He takes
throw
the top off the
down the field.
I
to
don't know
Will
that they
Fuller.
can get him that cheaply, though, Bull. That's
But
a low number.
We haven't heard him connected to anybody.
No, and I
right?
wonder, usually when, I love Josina, she's a terrific reporter, but sometimes the way these stories germinate is Will's agent tells Josina.
Entirely possible.
Hey, we think of the Browns. So there may be no smoke.
Yeah, the Browns
here.
might not have any interest,
No,
but they should.
But it's one of those things where a lot of times these reporters will sort of be used as a trial balloon. They'll float something
doubt.
out there to see what's going on. And that might be what's happening here. I don't know. I don't know.
You see that in recent memory here, the quarterbacks now, teams are now going back to pairing quarterbacks with receivers that they know. You look at Cincinnati and what they did, putting those two together, right? Now you're talking about
Miami, Philly, same thing. They did that.
Putting Philly, putting Watson and maybe Fuller back together.
Sure.
Because you want to shorten the learning curve here. I ain't got time to learn everybody here.
Guys
right?
want to play with Watson. We could debate the off-the-field stuff all we want. Fans can get mad about it. Fans that are mad about Watson. The bottom line is
People want to play with
players
him.
want to play
Well,
with
they want to
Watson.
win. They want to win.
And so if I'm sure Will Fuller, if the Browns made him a reasonable offer, I think why wouldn't he be interested? He's not.
Well,
not too many teams seem to be banging down his door right now.
No, not yet. And or maybe he's just fielding offers and he's waiting. There's no rush right now.
At this point, no.
Especially if you're in the driver's seat. That's why in Clowney's case, he was fielding offers. He wanted to wait until he had heard from everybody.
Right.
And once he felt he had all the information, he decided that he was going to stay here. With Will Fuller, it's probably the same thing. I'm sure his agent is talking to teams. I would think that the Browns would have interest because I know the Browns would love to upgrade that position. Why wouldn't they?
We need one more veteran.
One vet?
Because
They
it
need one
scares me.
vet?
I
What?
can't go in with all these rookies that, like you said, it lessens that curve. They know where he know where to sit down at.
I know where he's gonna be.
I know the back shoulder
I know
timing.
exactly where
It's
he's
all
gonna be.
young guys. I know, you know,
Yeah.
Donovan Peoples-Jones is his third year, but he's still a young player. He was a late draft pick. He's still very inexperienced. Outside of Cooper, they got no experience at the wide receiver, or minimal experience.
I
I'd
think
love
the
to see it.
defensive line was the weak position group on the team.
No doubt.
I think after that, you got to look at wide receiver.
Yes.
Maybe linebacker too, just because we don't know what we have there.
Right.
But I think if they could upgrade the wide receiver position, I think the Browns catapult themselves into the real down and dirty favorites in the AFC.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Tim Couch, let's bring you in. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend. I want to start, Tim, by getting your thoughts on something that Bull just touched on. The relationship between quarterback and wide receiver, particularly when they've done it together for a period of time in one city, how invaluable is that to sort of know what the other one's thinking without even talking about it?
Well, it's huge. You know, those guys they had tremendous chemistry in Houston. You know, you watch them play, just the ability to hit the deep ball, that home run ball would be huge for Cleveland's offense. The way we can run the ball in Cleveland with Chubb and Hunt, the offensive line we have, the play action game we could get, you know, with a guy like that who could take the top off the defense would be phenomenal. I think he would be a tremendous fit. I'm sure Deshaun would be all for it. You know, a guy he's familiar with coming into a new place and a new system, just a familiar face to throw the football to. You know, as a quarterback, you get used to the way guys comes out of routes, the way they see defenses, the way they break off, you know, side adjustments and see blitzes and those type of things. And they just get a rapport with each other. And I think, you know, Deshaun would certainly welcome having Will here in Cleveland.
Tim, obviously you had, you know, plenty of injuries. Most football players have been hurt, you know. But when a guy has been as injured as Will Fuller, right, he's missed time every season. Is it just bad luck? Is there something about his body? Like, is there any way you can make heads or tails over it, why he's been so injured?
You know, it just kind of hits you. You know, I was one of those guys as well. Like, you know, all through high school and college, I'd never had an injury in my life that caused me to miss a game. And then I get to the NFL, and it's just the injuries just start piling up on you, and it's really hard to explain what it is. You know, Will, you know, obviously, you know, he's unfortunately got that label as injury prone. You know, he's missed a ton of games. He's rarely out on the field. When he is, he's phenomenal, but you know, he's really never available. You know, and I felt that way throughout my career. You know, with 2 shoulder surgeries, a broken thumb, a broken leg, multiple concussions. You know, everything, broken foot, everything that I went through. You know, it's just kind of freak accidents. You know, you just can't. You know, I broke my thumb in practice on the last play of practice one time, and was out for the year, my second year in Cleveland. So you just never know when these things are going to take place, and it's unfortunate. As an athlete, you know, you work so hard and you prepare your body and get ready to play for a season, and then you know something happens and you're out, and then the next thing you know, you get that you know, you get that label, that dreaded label that no athlete wants, is injury prone. So you know, hopefully he can stay healthy because he's got a phenomenal skill set if he can get out on the field.
So, Tim, as you see the Browns putting these pieces together, the building blocks together for the upcoming season, what's your assessment here of the job that they're doing?
I think they're doing a great job. You know, you know, obviously you bring in a guy like Deshaun. You know, he's an elite player, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You know, you just hope he's available for a lot of the season. And you know, then you know the running back group is one of the strongest in the league already with Chubb and Hunt. The offensive line is great. Resigning Clowney is huge. You know, just to keep that pass rush with Myles Garrett, keep a little pressure off Myles on the defensive line is huge. Thought they had a really good draft as well. You know, I thought they added some pieces that can come in and help right away. So I think they're doing a great job. They're on the right track, and you know, just you know, hope guys can stay healthy and some of these young players can make an impact right away, and they can have a big season.
You know, Tim, we kind of take for granted that we're supposed to just you guys know the plays, right? You know, Deshaun Watson is going to come in. He has to learn the playbook. Can you tell me in layman's terms, like kind of put together your day of a quarterback who's trying to learn a brand new playbook? Like what are you doing in the morning, afternoon? How do you digest that information so you don't go in the huddle look crazy?
That's a great question, man. I think that's, every quarterback, when you go into a new system, just getting the play out in the huddle is the hardest part. You want to sound confident. You want to sound like you are in charge and you're in a leadership role. But when you're in there, stumbling through a play and you can't spit it out, it's hard for guys to believe in you that you're going to be able to make that play. So, you have to know the verbiage, first of all. You have to understand, what you're calling and why you're calling it. And then you just get into understanding, the routes. You start breaking it down. I started watching film. I'd watch, first down pass or play action passes, third down passes, blitz packages, red zone, just trying to learn it, break it down into parts like that and start learning the system that way. And then obviously there's the running game as well. You're making checks at the line of scrimmage where we want to run this play into this look or get out of this play versus that look. So there's a lot that goes into it, man. It just takes a lot of time. But, Deshaun is a very intelligent football player. He's proven that throughout his time in the league. I think he'll pick up on it very quickly. And, they'll adjust the system to him likes and what he likes to call and kind of make it familiar with him in certain cases that he's used to calling what he used to call it in Houston. So it'll be adjustment on both parts, but I think Deshaun will pick it up as quickly as anyone can.
Tim, we were talking earlier about the fact that at least I expect, and I think these guys all did too, the defense maybe to struggle early last season because there were so many new faces, and as the season went along got better, and that's exactly what happened. And this year there should be more consistency on defense. But now I think to some degree what you're talking about there with Deshaun Watson learning the playbook, really the entire passing game is different. You have a new quarterback. You may have two quarterbacks because there's a reasonable chance Watson's going to get suspended at least for some games. Your wide receiving core is basically all new except for Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, I know Schwartz was here, but he barely played. And, so Amari Cooper, the tight ends and running backs are basically the same, but the passing game, that will be a work in progress, even if Watson doesn't get suspended. But certainly if he does, it may take time for it to all come together, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. You're talking about an all-new quarterback room, given, saying that Baker doesn't come back and play if Deshaun is suspended. You're talking about some guy who's never played in this system before. So there's going to be an adjustment, and then, like you said, the wide receiver group is extremely young. Amari Cooper's got to get adjusted to this system. It's going to take time. And, getting guys on the same page, getting guys understanding, how quarterbacks like them to run routes and the timing that goes along with that. So it's going to be a lot of work in the offseason and OTAs and training camps, just trying to get on the same page with these guys and get the timing down in the passing game with these wide receivers and just get everyone, kind of on the same page and familiar with the verbiage in the offense.
Tim, damn that. Here, help the old NBA guy out here, right? Now, I'm just an NBA guy, but I got two studs in the backfield. I got Hunt, and I've got Chubb in the backfield.
Yeah.
Why can't we run? Why have we seen them in the backfield together? Tell me why that occurs, right? Because to the casual fan, I say, I have two studs here. I amplify my chances here because if I'm trying to show the defense, you don't know how I'm coming at you. Why have we not seen that here?
I'm not sure. I think there's probably, they're probably wanting to find a way to use both those guys at the same time. They're very different players, very different style runners. And, I think you get Chubb in there and, he's capable of hitting the home runs. And then, Hunt comes in and he's just going to pound you in between the tackles. And they're very physical backs. So, just a change of pace, just to spell one, keep one fresh is always a good idea. So maybe they're afraid of, getting one of them injured or something like that. So they just want to keep one of them fresh at all times. So, just keep the poundage down on their bodies. But, it would be hard to stop with both of those guys in the backfield and trying to figure out where the play's coming from. But they're two really talented backs, man. I think probably the best 1-2 punch in the NFL right now.
I remember the good old days with Mack and Biner.
Yeah.
We used to see them together all the time.
Used to seeing that, right? They used to seeing Bo Scott, Leroy Kelly. We used to seeing backs together. We seeing backs. And I'm like, why are we going to changing one guy in, one guy out?
Yeah, clearly Stefanski likes to keep one fresh.
Now that they trust, real quick, Jay, on that point before you go, now that they trust Dearness Johnson after the way he played last year, maybe they will be more comfortable because they know he's there to back it up.
He's a safety net.
Yeah.
Tim, I want to test your memory as a quarterback. How long has it been since you last took a snap in the NFL?
Let's see. I guess it would be 2005, maybe.
Okay,
I
so
think.
17 years or so. I love doing this with former quarterbacks because it really shows, to G's point before, about how they study and how they memorize stuff. I love asking quarterbacks, what was one of the most complicated play calls you ever remember having to call in a huddle. And I've asked this of guys that have been out of the league 20 years, and they rattle one or two of them off like it was yesterday because they burn them into their memories so much. So I want to test your memory live. Give me one of the sequence calls that you had that you struggled mightily with trying to get a command of it, and then take us through the moving parts of all of it, what all of it meant.
Let's see. Put me on the spot. It's been a long time since I've called a play.
I know it has. Sorry, brother.
I would think one of the hardest ones I can remember would be, let's see, far west right slot, U short, pass 96, U counter gap, keep left, fullback slide, X smash.
That's my guy right there. I knew he would get it. Okay, now take us through that.
And there's only a couple hundred of those in the playbook you got to remember, right?
It's mind-boggling. And so when we're sitting at home with our beer and our feet up on the couch yelling at the quarterback.
Why can't he make the throw? What's going on here?
In mind. So take us through the moving parts of that call again and tell us what it all means.
You know, it's really simple, to be honest with you. The play is a very simple play. It's just a play action with a bootleg out to the left side with a smash concept on the outside where the outside receiver is going to run a 6-yard hitch. The inside slot receiver is going to run a corner route over the top of him. And you just high-low in the corner. You know, if the corner comes up on the hitch, you're throwing the corner route over top of his head. If he gets depth, you're going to throw the hitch route on the outside. And then you got a fullback slide to the flat as well. If they cover both of those with a certain coverage, you just dump it off to the fullback on the slide. But it's really a simple play. It's just a lot
Very
of words
simple.
to call.
Jay,
We should call it like apples or
this
oranges
is
or
why you
something
need
simple.
this.
Just
This is better.
Get it out,
just hold
man.
this
It's
up.
hard to spit that out.
Yeah, that's what colleges
What's
have gone to. They just hold up.
Hold up the card.
but-
They hold the
yeah.
card.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
what
Yeah.
was the call again? Can you take us through the call again? Because it seemed like there were like 11 different moving parts
exactly.
to that thing.
Yeah, so it's far west right slot, which is the formation. U short, which is putting U in short motion. Pass 96, which is the protection. Pass 96, U counter gap, which is protection. Let me see. Far west right slot, U short, pass 96, U counter gap, keep left, which is the quarterback keep left. Fullback slide X smash, which is the route. So it's so you're basically telling every receiver what to run, what the protection is for the offensive line, and that I'm going to be rolling out to the left after the play action, after the fake off of the 96 play action.
And so if you have to change that at the huddle, change that at the line of scrimmage, how do you change that?
Well, sometimes we'll call 2 plays in the huddle on those deals. It could be an alert. If we get up and it's just a very soft look, a two shell look, and it's going to be very beneficial to run the ball, I can easily get to a run and play out of that. Whatever the live color is that week, some weeks it'll be red or brown or whatever. So if I get to the line of scrimmage and I've been using blue 88 or white 90 or whatever, and all of a sudden I say red. They know that I'm getting ready to change the play. So it'd be red, whatever run play I want to get to. It could be a dive play to the left, a toss play to the right, whatever it is that the defense has given me that I want to kind of, the area of the field I want to attack, I'll call a run play to that.
Tim,
So much to it.
I know, right?
he just said, just reading what you just did right there is amazing. I'll take it a step further than that. Like back then, like the game has changed so much. And one of the things that I heard that really blew my mind was quarterbacks calling their own plays. Like Bernie Kosar or Jim Kelly or Warren Moon basically calling their own plays the entire game, run, pass. What would it take today to be able to, for a guy to be able to call his own game like that? And did you ever have some of that maybe in your career in college, high school, or in the pros where you got a chance to call your own plays?
Yeah, that's a great point. I did get into a little bit of that in college. My second year in college, and in the air raid system that we created with Hal Mumme and Mike Leach. Coach Mumme in my second year would pretty much just give me, a lot of times once we would get rolling a game, I had a wristband on, and he would give me just a formation, and he would just kind of tell me to go with it, and I would kind of go up there and. Because I'm the last guy that's going to be able to see what coverage they're in or what front they're in. So he trusted me to get us into the right place. So I had a wristband on where I could just quickly signal out to the wide receivers what route I wanted them to, what play I wanted them to get into, or whether it was a run play or whatever. But at the NFL, really I didn't call my own plays at all, other than 2-minute drills. Obviously you kind of own your own in 2-minute drill. Or if your headset goes out, you got to go. You got to understand what you're trying to call. But to be able to do that for an entire game, like you said, what those old school quarterbacks used to do, Bernie and those guys, and I think Peyton Manning probably did quite a bit of that as well. Calling your own play for an entire game, man, is unbelievably hard. You have
I
so
don't
much
think we'll
stuff
ever
to
see it
figure
again.
No.
It's crazy. Yeah, I can't imagine the pressure. You're trying to figure out. You got to figure out down and distance, what it is, where you're at in the game.
That's tough.
Everything you got to factor in all that while you're trying to, read defenses and make right decisions, and then trying to figure out how to call plays would be unbelievably tough.
Tim, you mentioned Mike Leach there, so we got to ask you, has he always been crazy, or did he just recently lose his mind in the last few years?
Been crazy from day one, man. Absolutely, from the first day. When he first got to Kentucky, he and Hal had been at Valdosta State, so he never had a big job before. Yeah. So he just kind of came in. He was our wide receivers coach and offensive coordinator, but you really thought he was kind of crazy because I didn't know anything about these guys, and he's just talking about everything but football. He's talking about pirates and wars and history and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, I just want to know the freaking playbook. I don't care about pirates.
What's your greatest Mike Leach crazy story? Because I know you've got many.
Well, yeah, he, the funniest things I can remember about Mike when he first got there was our quarterback room was right next to the wide receiver room, and after practice, when we would go in and watch the film, you could just hear him cussing those dudes out, man. Names, he would call them 85 or 87. What the hell are you doing here, 87? He didn't even know their names or whatever. Man. So but you could hear him screaming at them from down the hall, and he was an intense guy, but he was a lot of fun to be around, and obviously a brilliant offensive mind.
Hey, Tim, we last week we played a game show. Mike Polk is one of the guys who hosts with us. He did a game show called, did you see this by any chance? We put up pictures, and you had to guess whether it was a former Browns quarterback since '99 or a stock photo auto mechanic. Now, you're one of the most recognizable Browns quarterbacks since '99, but most of the guys that came after you are not recognizable, including Kelly Holcomb, who was one of the guys on this game who I don't know if we all knew it. I'm not sure. But how do you think you would do in that game if we somehow in the future played that game with you? Do you think you'd be successful?
I think I'd be pretty good at it, actually. I've watched. I think I've watched every Browns game since 1999. So I think if I didn't do well, I'd be pretty surprised.
Some of them, I got to say, some of these pictures we looked at and we debated them for 45 seconds, and even when we finally guessed, it was just a guess. We couldn't tell.
I kept saying Connor Cook, who wasn't even a Browns quarterback.
Yeah, I know. You were thinking Connor Shaw.
Mikey
wants in here. Mikey, what do you got?
Tim, I will send you the link. If you record yourself going through the 19, we will play that and react to you playing the game. It's like great. 7 minutes long. It's not that long. But if you get,
I'll be glad
what's the
to.
challenge? If he gets 80%, he
What
wins.
were there, 17 or 19?
I think there was 19.
Yeah.
I think Tim would get almost all of them right.
I mean,
think
in
get like
the
2 or
end,
3
we
wrong.
did get most of them right.
Yeah, we got like 3/4.
I mean, I think, I can't remember, Bree was keeping individual scores.
Yeah.
I came in last.
It feels like we got most of them right. You missed a couple.
Yeah.
Aditi was in that day. I think she got most of hers right because we were going individually around. Yeah, if you get a chance to do that,
I'll send you the link, Tim. Let's see how you do.
Some of the pictures, too, I don't know where they got them.
They were good.
They were. Do you want to keep going with this, or are we gonna jet?
Tim, you want to do some mean tweets with us?
Oh yeah, we got to do the mean tweets.
We're gonna do Internet Hates Us. Yeah, Mikey, are you reading those? Who has those?
Me, Bull, and Tim.
Oh,
so
wonderful. Tim's got an Internet Hates
Tim
Us?
Couch. We're going to let Tim read the first one. So, Tim, I
that's
emailed
awesome.
you those this morning. Steve, let's pull up the video. And, Tim, whenever you're ready, let it rip.
Your show is unlistenable, unwatchable, and a torture all around. Give it up for humanity's sake.
I've got a suggestion. He doesn't have to watch us.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Tim, what kind of loser would have Beavis and Butthead as his picture?
You just answered the question.
Bring that back up, Mikey. Bring that back up.
Give us 1 second. Pulling it back up.
Yeah.
Look, because I want to show you. Phil Uzi
Yeah.
is up at 1:24 a.m. tweeting about
Loser.
That's a great point.
Loser.
Wait a minute. So
Loser.
why? That's a great point. Why is he tweeting that at 1:24 in the morning?
Hey, fun
Who's
fact
the
about
loser?
Phil Uzi.
Look, Jay, a loser.
Yeah, you just yell on that one.
He just got done spending $1,000 at the strip club downtown. That's
Phil
what
Lucy.
Fun fact about Phil Uzi.
Yeah.
0 followers.
That's my
Zero
favorite.
followers.
Zero followers.
Loser.
Fat goose egg.
So someone is unlistenable and unwatchable. How many followers do we have? I don't even know.
Close to 8,000.
And we've been around 2 weeks. So, Phil, Keep doing you, bro.
Yeah.
What else? Who's next?
Bull, I'll let you read number 2. I'll go
I
number
like
3.
this one. Bob E. Knight.
This
Bob
guy, we had
E.
this guy last week.
Yeah, he's a
He
total
tweets at us
dip.
every day.
But I give him credit. That's actually a funny tweet. Your YouTube show is as bad as your baseball team.
So we're
Oh,
mediocre.
Bull. Ouch.
it's funny, but you're taking shots at 9 and 10-year-old kids.
Yeah, that's
a little lame.
low. That's low.
By the way, Tim talked about Mike Leach talking about other things besides like sports. So the other day I went to the mound to talk to my pitcher.
Yeah.
And I felt like he was nervous. So when I went out there, I didn't talk about pitching at all. I
Yeah.
said, "When's your birthday?" And he told me. I said, "What do you want for your birthday?" He said, "Nothing." He was like, he was totally shocked that I was asking him about
Sure.
something else.
You
besides
took his
baseball.
mind off the
It
game,
didn't
though.
work though. Didn't work.
He continued to walk everybody.
Well, next time, hey, whoever his name is, tell him what I want
Yeah.
for my birthday. I'll pitch in for him.
All right.
You sub? You
Yeah,
sub?
sub.
Bob,
All right.
I mean-
Tag in for him.
You got another one, Bull?
Wait. Yes.
Bull, hey, let me read number 3, Bull.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
Oh,
let
this
Tim
guy.
do number 4, and then Bull's got 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So number 3, from Dej 1996, Chicago attire on @Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, lame.
Yeah, that
Call
was.
out G. Bush.
I wondered about that because you had a Blackhawks hockey jersey on last week,
Hey,
right?
well, listen, here's the thing, man. I tried to let y'all know. Listen, this is just from one culture to another.
Yeah.
We, as African Americans, we wear the hat because it look good. Now, you might see, I like the Guardians. I love the Guardians. If it was a hot Yankees hat, I might have it on.
This guy,
Please
I
don't
know
wear
this
a
guy
Yankees
on
hat, though,
Twitter.
to this
He's
show.
like one of the 30 people I still have blocked on Twitter because he's a little.
He's touched.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. This guy, I know him. He's a hater. He's a hater.
There's only one color I don't wear. Like I won't even, and I'm so sincere about this. I don't even play with this team in Madden. I do not rock Steelers gear. I don't rock Steelers nothing.
Good.
And
So that's your only rule.
and-
Ravens? What about Ravens?
No, I can't mess with the Ravens neither.
Bengals?
But I don't outwardly just say that. But Bengals is kind of cheap. Like because I
You
could
wearing
wear
a Pete Johnson jersey?
No, I could
You
wear
wearing an
orange.
Archie Griffin Bengals jersey?
Back
Throwback.
up. Hold
Throwback.
on. Back up with Archie Griffin now.
This is homie.
Stop.
played for the Bengals.
No, stop.
That'd be the
Don't
only
touch
piece
the
of
Ohio-
Bengals clothing
don't
I would
touch the
ever
Ohio
wear.
State people. You stay off the Ohio State people.
All right, Tim, is there any team that you won't wear? Is there any team you won't wear?
Absolutely. In college, it's Louisville for sure.
I knew
can't
that's
stand
right.
Louisville. Being a Kentucky guy, it's my son is a sophomore in high school. He's getting recruited now for football, and I told him you can go anywhere you want. I'm not going to tell you where to go, but you're not going to Louisville. So,
Did you ever consider going to Louisville, or was that absolutely a non-starter for you growing up in Kentucky?
non-starter, man. When you're a Kentucky fan, you just can't stand Louisville. It's like Michigan, Ohio State.
You're
like
right.
One side or the other. Louisville's out for me.
That is a great that is their
Oh,
Michigan.
Yeah. I remember
in the state of
I
Kentucky.
remember when Michigan called for my daughter, right? And I said, "Look, Coach, I'm gonna just tell you right now, we can't. We're not even gonna do that. Let's not even play around with this because
Not gonna happen.
I have to live here. I'm not fooling with you,
Right, yeah.
So you might be the best of intentions, but no.
They
So
sincere about it.
Because your relationship with your daughter's going on forever.
Yeah, right.
That if she were to make that Michigan decision, that would always be the elephant in the room.
Tough.
Yeah.
We got two more.
Two
Bull,
more?
you read
Yeah.
number 4.
All
Tim's
right.
going to read number 5. Bull, it's all you.
The internet
I'll read
hates
no-
us.
Oh, but I got to read 5. No, he's got to read 4. No?
Yeah, we'll switch it up.
All right, can't wait to hear you back on the radio in a couple of months after this experiment bombs.
Jeff Shorty Law.
Jeff, well, what is wrong with people that they would be rooting for this show to fail?
Because the internet is full of hate.
Yeah.
Pull that back.
That's
up.
why the more time you spend
Mike,
in
pull that
it,
back
the
up.
more demented you become.
I mean, at least he likes me. He does want to hear me on the radio. What's the difference if you listen to me on the radio here?
I like looking at the tweets. Let me see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you-
Shorty Law.
Yeah.
So a lawyer at 219 is doing what?
Yeah.
Raise
Well,
all over the time.
that is, though, in
What-
defense, it's a Saturday.
What are
so
you
he's probably
doing?
not
You
working
should
on
be-
any cases.
Hope you're preparing for a case.
I would, if he was my lawyer, I wouldn't want him sending a tweet like that. I wouldn't,
Hey,
just me.
Get ready to go ahead and plea bargain.
Bull, one of my favorite sayings
Yeah.
is hate corrodes the vessel that it's carried in. So if you think about
Yeah.
that for a second, that's why I have a pretty fast rule about the internet.
Yeah.
I will output, but that's where I stop. I don't really care what the
Smart.
reactions to it
Yeah.
are. I don't care. I make my decisions in a vacuum regardless of what people think.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this for you as a career decision.
Yeah.
So I loved your explanation of it. You do something every day for 11, 12 years, whatever you did.
Yeah.
It becomes like stamping fenders. And this was an opportunity for you to do something new, different.
Yeah.
But here's the key word that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
Challenging.
Yes.
That's the key. So when you wake up every day, if you're going to go to a routine that you've had for all these years, it becomes routine, and
Yes.
you can become complacent. You
Absolutely.
went outside your comfort zone. I applaud you, Bull,
Thank you,
for
thank
what you
you.
did.
Yeah.
And look, if this doesn't work, you go back,
We'll
you'll be a
figure it
radio
out.
show host
I'm not
or
worried about
whatever.
it.
But I love
already
the
working.
saying, too, that I'd rather have tried and failed than never have tried.
Yes.
And-
And most
and-
importantly, happy. Happiness is more
Yeah, so
important
keep
than
the
money.
hate coming. We
Yes,
don't mind
love
it.
You got one more, and Tim's got to read the last one.
Okay.
Tim,
Tim,
go.
what do you got?
Oh, I love this one.
Oh boy, here we go. How is Adam the Bull part of this show or group or whatever the hell it is? He's not even from Cleveland nor a Cleveland fan. He's from frickin' New York and a Bengals fan. He sucks.
I mean,
Wow.
he hit all the
That's
talking
harsh.
points.
I love
Man.
that tweet, Tim.
Bring that back up.
This,
Our
that
sleuth
back up.
wants to point something out.
Hold on, bring that back up.
what do we got?
Is that my man Jonathan DeMart from the construction company down in Streetsboro? Is that? Can't be too many Jonathan DeMarts.
Wait, you know this cat?
I don't know. Like, is this the same? Is this the same
Jonathan DeMart. How many followers does Jonathan
I'll
DeMart
be
have?
calling
Do we
John
know?
after this.
Hold on.
Yeah, he's going to look it up. So you know a Jonathan
Absolutely
You
do.
gotta straighten him out, Brad. I've always said I never got why like there's always been a segment of the fan base here that were mad at me because I was honest about who I grew up rooting for.
You bring a different perspective. That's needed.
Right? I'm not going to be biased.
Yeah.
I've made it very clear from the moment I moved to Cleveland. I'll root for the Browns. I'm rooting for the Browns to win as long as they're not playing the Bengals.
Yeah.
I root for the Guardians to win as long as they're not playing the Cubs. Unfortunately, it was in the World
Yeah.
Series. It
Yeah.
sucked. Otherwise, it was terrible. Should I renounce the teams? I grew up rooting for them. What am I going to do?
No, so, Jonathan-
it allows me to not be biased when I talk about the teams.
You bring a perspective that the three of us don't have. So we are fans, and
Yeah.
sometimes, and I try hard not to do this, but it's burned into our DNA.
Yeah.
Fans are sometimes the most critical.
Yes.
But sometimes they're the most blind.
Yes.
And they're just, oh yeah, the Browns did this, then I support it.
Yes.
I don't think any of us are that guy. But
No.
your perspective coming from the outside,
Yes.
especially New York,
Yes.
I think that's the perfect place to be from if you're going to move to another market. 'Cause
Yes.
you know the cynicism that fans have. You understand that. And not that we fanboy because we don't, but I make no bones about it. I wear my love for these teams on my sleeve.
Yes.
I root for them, I live with them, and I die with them.
And by the way, I've had multiple opportunities to leave Cleveland in the last 11 years,
And
and
you
I've
said
chosen
no.
not to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I never would.
Right.
But it really has nothing to do with Cleveland. It's just because at some point I might just want to live somewhere warm. I don't want to go back to New York. But I've had multiple opportunities to go to other places. I've been offered jobs, and I've turned it down because I'm very happy here.
He loves Cleveland.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Tim. We talk about mean tweets really quickly. I was in a YouTube rabbit hole going down watching Brown's video, and I came across something. We had a little issue with people booing, right? I remember I watched the game. You got hurt, and there was boos, man.
I remember that.
And I remember I was emotional because I remember watching the post game, and I'm like, man, it hit Tim tough because he was like, wow, man, I done put a lot out here, and when the boos come, it's tough. How do you deal with that as a player? You the number one pick. Obviously, Baker dealt with it. A lot of quarterbacks do. How do you deal with that when you are getting booed? What do you do? And would you be on social media today because of all the toxicity a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. For me, I was the first player picked in the new franchise back in '99 and started with that team when they were absolutely awful and got sacked 56 times my rookie year, which was an NFL record. Got beat to death, and I kept getting up, kept playing, kept fighting, and then to get booed when I'm laying there on the ground with a concussion is, in my home stadium, I just felt like it was a low blow, and it really upset me. I was hurt, as athletes, you don't really want to show your feelings a lot because nobody really cares how you feel, but, you're a human at the same time. And they put microphones right in my face right after the game too. And I just had a concussion. I probably should have, if I would have waited till the next day, I wouldn't have reacted the way I did. I would have said something much more politically correct. But in that moment, man, I was hot. I was really pissed off, and it just didn't feel right to me. I don't think anybody any athlete should be booed, whether they're if they're laying on the field hurt, whether it's their home stadium or a visiting stadium. But especially, you're laying there in your home stadium getting booed. It was a low point in my career for sure. And I'm just glad Twitter wasn't around when I was playing.
Yeah, no kidding.
It would have been unbearable. And Adam, don't listen to any of these guys, man. You do a hell of a job on here. Just keep doing it.
That's exactly right. That's great advice from somebody who knows. I got to tell you, my entire life I've been a Browns fan. That day, Tim, that you're talking about was one of the days that I was most ashamed to be a Browns fan.
Disgraceful.
Because, and I know it was, and what really sucks is it was a minority. It wasn't like the whole stadium.
No, it's always a small group.
But it was loud enough that you could hear it. The TV cameras could hear it. We were a national joke. Everybody was saying, yeah, Cleveland now is booing their own guys when they're laying there hurt. It was hard to watch because I know the average Cleveland sports fan and how good they are. That didn't represent all of us either, Tim, and I always hated that left a bad taste in your mouth for some of the fans. Before we let you go, do we have time for this?
Yeah, we got time for one more
Later
question.
in the show, we're going to talk about the toughest Cleveland athlete of all time. And your name is a name that has to be thrown out there. The beating that you took your rookie season is, we haven't seen anything like that since. I don't know that we ever will, again, because I don't think a quarterback with today's defensive linemen, the size and strength of them, I don't think a quarterback can survive 56 sacks in a season without getting hurt. Do you have a toughest Cleveland athlete that comes to mind for you, all-time toughest?
Man, there's been so many. Probably the one that right off the top of my head would be Joe Thomas. You're talking about a guy who played, 10 years at left tackle and never missed a game. I mean, at that position, man, that's unbelievable. I can't imagine the injuries that he played through and showed up and played at a Pro Bowl level year in and year out. And then another guy that I would think of, he wasn't a Cleveland athlete for a very long time, but my rookie year I played with Chris Spielman. And Chris was as tough as they come, and his body was just beat to death by that time that I was playing with him. And, man, he was an absolute warrior, and I'd love playing with that guy. So he would be up there on the top of my list as well.
Yeah, you give me 22 Chris Spielmans, I'm winning the Super Bowl every year. Just his heart. His heart was unbelievable. Tim, as always, great insight, great information.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Man,
joining
Tim.
us.
Thanks, Tim.
I also
Appreciate
have
you
to
guys.
know that
Good to
the
see
internet loves us, too. I've seen a lot of
Yes.
positive comments on you, and that always
But it's
makes
not
me
as funny.
smile.
It's not as funny as
Tim, we'll
It's
see you
not
next
as funny.
week, man. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, guys. See you next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, we're going to step aside. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, there's some talk in the Cleveland City Council about taking the name FirstEnergy off the stadium, which the Browns call home. Obviously, they've been embroiled in a bribery scandal. We'll tell you the latest on that. We're also going to have some fun and say, if it was to be stripped of the title, and you could name it anything you wanted, what would you call current FirstEnergy Stadium? That discussion when we come back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I agree with him.
Yeah, I think we all
agree
do.
with him. Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I'm a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. My favorite all-time Cleveland sports moment, you're not going to believe this, it was Rajai Davis's home run in Game 7 that tied the score.
My favorite Cleveland sports moment would have to be the Kyrie Irving 2016 shot. It's the only time that I've ever cried over any sporting event.
And my ultimate Cleveland memory is when the Cavs won the championship and the day of the parade. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life.
What matters most to me is family. Sometimes you don't realize how important it is until you're away from them.
What matters most to Jay? His family. He is a big family man. What matters most to me? My family, my safety, your safety.
I think the thing that most impresses me about Betsy is her versatility. Give her any assignment that involves going in front of a television camera, and she's going to knock it out of the park.
What's new with Betsy and Jay? Weekdays at 5 on 3. Recognize that feeling? It is the feeling of being together, enjoying the company of a familiar face, and sharing moments that matter. To you, to me, to us. What matters to some could impact all of us, especially in a place like Northeast Ohio. Here, stories are shared, from east to west to south. Stories of perseverance, of family, of love. If a story brings us together, it's what matters most.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I am a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. I have carried my fandom every city I've ever lived in. People have always asked me, why are you so diehard about Cleveland? It's because I'm from here. and we know how much our teams mean to us. Most of us know that because of our parents. In my case, my father was just a huge Cleveland sports fan. It was really part of our life. It was woven into everything we did, and it was our connection throughout his life.
That's it.
Oh, welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. So when we were in the break, what did you do?
You know, I went to the Rolodex.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
"This is my man." I said, I called my man up, Jonathan. I said,
And we have figured out
I think
definitively
that's my
that's
man,
the guy
right?
you know.
Yeah.
You got to straighten him out.
I got to straighten him out, man.
I mean,
Jonathan,
come
he's
on.
a good guy, man. What's the deal?
Yeah.
Man? Come on, bro.
And by the way, it's Art Modell's fault I'm a Bengals fan.
Hey, Mikey, what I say? Bring
Really?
it back.
Because they fired Paul Brown.
If
Hey.
Paul Brown had never, my dad was a Browns fan when he was a young kid.
Yeah.
Because he loved Paul Brown, as did kids all over the country.
Sure.
Everybody loved Paul Brown. He was the best coach. And because Art Modell fired him, and then he started the Bengals, my dad was angry about it, and he switched and became a Bengals fan.
If you root for the team that your father rooted for,
Yeah.
I give you a pass no matter
it. My
what.
dad rooted
like
for the
the one
Bengals
thing
and
that I have a
Cubs.
hard time with is people that live in Cleveland but root for the Steelers. And I always ask
That's
them
tough.
why. And if they say
Yeah.
my dad's from Pittsburgh or my dad was a fan, that's a free pass for me. But if it's because I like their uniforms or because they always win, I got nothing
Yeah.
but hate for that.
I feel like you can't have two. Or they say I root for the Browns and the Steelers. That's even worse. You can't root. It's just not possible.
Yeah, you root for one or the
You got to have one or the other,
See, but
bro.
I always felt that way, but I, in all honesty, I do want the Browns to do well when they're not playing the Bengals.
It's more
I
fun.
do.
I worked in Tampa 5 years, and
Yeah.
I never, I was still a Browns fan.
Yeah.
Even though the first year I was there, they didn't have a team. I
Yeah.
was there from 98 to 03. So I'm like, I've got no team. I got to know all the players. They were
Right.
good.
Yeah, you
that was
want
the
them to
Warwick
win.
Dunn and
Yeah.
Warren Sapp, and they were fun to root for. So I adopted them for the year because I had no rooting interest in the NFL.
Yeah.
But once the Browns came back, they instantly became my favorite team again. And I always wanted the Bucs to do well.
Right.
It made my job easier when they were winning and doing well.
Right. If I don't
So-
want the Browns to. We've had the Browns sucking and had
Yeah.
that storyline. I want the Browns to win a lot with Deshaun Watson.
Of course. All right.
There you go.
So let's start this segment of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show with the notion that FirstEnergy Stadium is kind of toxic to a lot of folks. They were involved in a bribery deal that came to light a couple of years back. And now Councilman Brian Casey, this is the Cleveland City Council, has introduced a resolution that he wants the name FirstEnergy stripped off the stadium name, doesn't want that. They were involved in a scandal involving $60 million of bribery money. Ultimately, the idea was to hurt their competitor and drive them out of business. Nonetheless,
And to get tax breaks.
It was tax breaks. It was
Yeah.
a very dirty,
shady. Yes.
kind of Chicago-like deal, if you will. It was not pretty. Here's the thing, though. FirstEnergy paid $230 million in 2021 after admitting this is the crime, what they did. If you can make anything out of that, you're better than I am. I just know they spent a lot of dirty money bribing
bribed
people.
some politicians.
And it was a dirty deal. But
Yeah.
they spent $107 million back in 2013 to have the naming rights to FirstEnergy Stadium through 2030. So even though this is on the city council's docket,
Yeah.
and it likely will pass, it's not binding. It doesn't mean anything. It's largely symbolic. This
Yeah.
is a deal between the Browns, the Haslam family, and FirstEnergy, and they're not. The Haslams aren't going to give that money back.
Yeah, I don't like that they're doing this. This seems like grandstanding, and I don't appreciate that.
Right.
The city of Cleveland, a lot of important work needs to be done generally. And obviously, we've got a new mayor who I really like, and I think is going to do a good job. And we need to be focused on a lot of more important things.
Yeah.
I do think FirstEnergy is a disgrace. This idea, the statements put out by both FirstEnergy and the Browns over the weekend were flat out embarrassing,
Yeah.
saying they're doing all this stuff in the community, about whatever. They're bad. They did. This is awful what they did, and I don't want to call it this. I'm going to just call it Cleveland Brown Stadium, and that's whatever.
Yeah.
But what's the point of this resolution when they have no ability to change it? It's a waste of
I
time.
mean, listen, I applaud. Listen, city council, if they're not going to do nothing about it and they're going to keep the name, I got all time of the day. I got all type of time. I could go to this meeting, and then right after this meeting, I can vote on roads or bridges or whatever I want. But symbolism does work. You can't let people get away with blatant corruption and nothing happens. So, yeah, take the rights.
So, in other words, it would look uglier on the city council if they just sat back and
Yeah,
did nothing.
it's like, what are we
Because
on
you're
city
almost
council?
co-signing it if you don't at least oppose it.
Fair point.
So it
least say
is.
something.
At least it brought. You know what? It's a good point. at least it brought it to the public attention again, because a lot of people
Because I didn't even know about it.
I think it's in Casey's district too, so that's where the stadium is.
So, and politically expedient
Larry,
to be against
right.
the bad guys.
But one of the biggest bribes was Larry Householder, was the head of the state.
Well, but you're sitting here. You're
representatives.
sitting here, and obviously it's iconic. It's just like when you go to most big cities, you see the city associated with the stadium name. SoFi Stadium in L.A. Staples used to be out in L.A. I mean, so you would know Yankee Stadium. Well, not Yankee Stadium.
I think like Fenway, Wrigley. There's very few that haven't succumbed
to the naming.
To the big
So
naming.
to your point, though, the Browns are not going to give the money back, right?
No.
It's
Do you
already,
think
it's
they'll
already,
rename it?
It's already fact. Well, if somebody pays more, right?
Yeah, like, so here's the
They
deal.
should be trying to do that.
I
though.
imagine if the Browns wanted, and you're the mayor, so tell me if I'm off base here. If the Browns came to the decision that we don't like this because it is dirty and it reflects negatively on us,
Right.
we want to null and void this contract. Here's your money back. That's would, if it was prorated out, I think it's about $7 million a year.
Yeah.
So if it goes through 30, so that's $56 million remaining. Here's your $56 million. They're only going to do that if they have someone else to supplant that money, and then it becomes Progressive Stadium or whatever it would be. Could they get out of that contract?
They would have to go back and renegotiate the deal. And here, FirstEnergy could say, no, you pay me to remove my name because I'm getting damaged from this little
but
this
because
little
they've been
theatrical
ensnared
stunt.
in a controversy, is there any sort of morals clause that the Browns could use to escape?
It could be one buried. It depends on what the contract says. The contract can say 1,000 things, right? So the one thing is that the Browns have probably, if I think about it, have factored this money into their operations.
I would imagine they
right?
have.
So that has to be resolved. They're not walking away from that obligation without some type of remuneration here, right?
And they don't care, though. The Browns don't care what FirstEnergy did.
well-
They probably don't care. They certainly know that the fans are not going to not come to games because of it.
Well, they probably do care.
But,
they're
I mean,
running,
look at Jimmy
here,
Haslam's
here,
past.
Here, I
mean,
still need to pave the streets, all right?
Yeah.
So this money is
if they
factored
had
into-
their pick,
this
they
is-
probably
this-
wish it wasn't
This
called
is factored into the
FirstEnergy.
budget,
Right.
right? So I can't walk away. It's not like we walk away from $10, right?
I don't care. If you really care, then do
No, if
something
you want
about
your
it.
street-
If you
if you-
really care, then do something
We did a
about it.
segment. The segment last week was Sports Tsar or whatever, where we let Mikey McNuggets change anything in the sports world that he wanted.
Yeah.
We'll go around the table here, and Bull, you can start. You can name FirstEnergy whatever you want. What are you calling it?
I would just, very simple, nothing exciting about this. Cleveland Brown Stadium. That's it. Very
okay,
simple.
standard. Very Penn State-ish.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, for me, I'm thinking about the economics of it, right? So the Browns have to supplant this money. I would change it to Sherman-Williams Stadium because Sherman-Williams is building this new world headquarters.
Oh,
in
wow.
in
Okay, now
downtown
that's a great
Cleveland,
idea,
right?
bro.
And then it would kind of line up with a message that I think the city's trying to portray, right? We're investing in millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, the state, the county, the city, and putting Sherman-Williams headquarters downtown, right? And so I just think that would be fit for Brown Stadium because that's going to be the iconic place that you know here. We're in Sherman-Williams Stadium here.
Right. And obviously, so your idea is you got to have that money, that sponsorship money, and who better than Sherwin-Williams, who's just made a huge investment in downtown by moving their headquarters here. Bull, what do you got?
That's bull.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gee, what do you got?
Separated
All you big guys look alike.
Separated at birth.
Hey, I'm gonna go with the zoo, man, because the zoo sounds great.
Oh, the zoo.
See, I
like
love
that.
it because there's a bunch of crazed animals, sports fans down there, and I wanna bring it back. I wanna bring back the dog pound, but I also wanna bring back monkey suits. I wanna bring back apes and gorillas and chimps and everything, and giraffes and bears and tigers. I want everybody dressing up like it's Halloween, and when you come in
Sort of
here,
like the Raiders old bar.
yes, when you come up in here, it's gonna be loud, obnoxious. We throw stuff only like confetti and stuff, not like hammers,
No batteries and
or
cans.
batteries and nothing. But you come in here, you know it, and the sponsor is Pet Supplies.
So Pet Supply Zoo Stadium.
Pet Supply Zoo.
Yeah, I don't want. So something like that is so cool. I don't want a sponsor name. The zoo.
Yeah, you got
That's
ruined
it.
it with the
Welcome to the
sponsor
zoo.
name.
Welcome to the zoo.
Other teams, after it becomes a thing, they're looking at their schedule. Oh, damn, we got to go to the zoo
Oh my
in
God.
December.
Right.
It's
Like, who
cold.
wants to go to the zoo in December?
Nobody.
The
Nobody.
I
Bengals
love
have to
that.
come to the zoo
And
on
the jungle.
Monday Night Football.
Well, and the
on
Bengals have the
Halloween.
jungle.
Yes.
So you'd have the jungle
One
and
of
the
them.
zoo. I like that a lot.
I like the zoo,
So
man.
I'm not loving mine as much anymore. Mine just feels kind of plain. But I just wanted
He
it
tucked his chain in.
dog pound. That's it. The whole stadium takes on the dog pound vibe. I still think that is what this franchise most identifies with. We don't have the mascot per se. I know we do, but the dog pound of the old Municipal Stadium was real. I want that same feel in the entire stadium.
Yeah.
Because that vibe was that was something that the fans knew. If you had to go into that end in the fourth quarter, it wasn't going to be fun. Number one, you're going into the wind off the lake, and you got to go into the teeth of those fans. So I'd love something dog pound-ish, but the zoo ain't bad.
I like the zoo.
The zoo ain't bad. If you have ideas, go ahead and send them to us. You know our handle on YouTube, Twitter. You send them in. Mike will go through them, and he'll give us some of the best ones later in the show if we want to do that. All right. Mikey, ultimate top 5, and today's list is things you don't understand.
Yeah, and let's take the wide shot here as we switch the monitors to Roundstone. The Ultimate 5 is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money, an average of 20%. 20%, that's not a typo. Contact us today to learn how you can get great healthcare benefits that your employees will love and save money too. And guys, I understand healthcare insurance. This list is thing, for the sake of this, I do. I don't understand the next 5 things that we're about to get into.
Okay.
So, without further ado, number 5, cryptocurrency and NFTs. It is pretty much just a way for drug dealers to not leave a paper trail when they're buying and selling pot. And big shots, the whole NBA movement with big shots where you could buy a highlight.
Yeah.
Cool, you own it. I'm going on YouTube
Jay
and watching
Brad
it right
might
after.
understand that. I'm lost.
No, so
on
I
it.
tried to dive into it, and I've had people that really do understand it, that are very smart, explain it to me, and at the end of the day, I just use street logic. Is what I use street logic. I say, wait, what? When I heard the whole thing and it was explained back to me, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm conventional when it comes to my money.
Hey, like if I can't take this right here and go get a sandwich with it,
It's worthless.
I can't do nothing with it. I can't do nothing with it.
Oh, by the way, the market on both has completely cratered in the last.
Brad, you know it? Are you up on that?
All
right, none of us. We don't know.
Listen,
We're with you. That's a good one.
I'm watching Charles Shaq commercial with Steph Curry talking about you up on the crypto. I'm off of that.
Speaking of,
I'm off of that.
Speaking of Charles, did you see him riding on the horse last night? Two nights ago, whenever the hell it was.
That's perfectly Charles.
Yeah.
I had somebody. We talked about it on our 5 o'clock show on Channel 3 a couple of months back. And somebody from Chagrin Falls, who said he was a retired financial advisor, sent me this long email because I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going there. I don't understand it. I like my dollars so I can touch them and everybody can recognize them.
Yeah.
He sent me this long, thoughtful email about how I was missing the boat, and you always want to be on the front edge of new big things. Like imagine if you had bought Apple early on or Google or Amazon. And he's basically making the case to me that this is ground floor Amazon. And I read all of it, and I replied to him, thanks for all the information, but I'm too old for that. My mind doesn't work in fakeness. Like the space that you can buy now on the internet, like real estate, but folks are spending millions of dollars for imaginary space on the web.
It's one of the
I'm
greatest.
good. I don't need that. But then 2 weeks ago, I read this whole article how the crypto and the NFT markets have just cratered. And, this is a guy that made his living making money for people, telling me I have to do this. Now, look, long run, it might come back and be great.
They got these huge mining places. I don't get it.
I don't either.
Let's get to number 4.
All right, number 4. This is what inspired the list. People who willingly run marathons.
Without being held
Without
captive.
a specific goal in mind.
I totally disagree with that. I have never run a marathon.
I haven't either.
Not a big shocker. But I hope to someday. I hope to someday to be the first guy that runs it for the first time at 60 years old.
Do you run?
I ran a couple of years ago. I ran 2 5Ks.
Okay.
And did fine, which is a long way off from a marathon.
Sure.
A 5K is 3.1
It's a start.
miles.
You got to start somewhere.
It's a start. My goal, when I first got in the business, I was doing play-by-play for the biggest 15K in America, which is in Utica, New York, of all places.
Play-by-play of a 15K?
Believe it or not, yes.
Oh, man.
I'd
rather watch
I guess
grass
play-by-play
grow,
is a
bro.
weird way to describe it. It was on the radio, too.
Here comes
But
the
this
number
is-
3 runner.
It was, but you know what? A lot of people listened because it was the entire area of Utica
All right.
got involved in this. All the great runners would come from Africa. They'd all be involved in this. And we had to bring an analyst from out of town because, she knew how to pronounce everybody's name. I had no clue. and it was great. But I always said someday I'd love to come back here and run a 15K, which of course is only I think a third of a marathon.
Right.
Yeah.
So I probably won't ever actually run a marathon, but I think it's a great accomplishment for people who do it. People get I do know that last year when I was really having successful weight loss, I wasn't jogging, but I was walking, and I had gotten to the point where every Saturday I would do a long walk, and I'd gotten to the point where I'd done like 8 miles.
Wow.
And I was feeling so good. I got a high off of that. Sure. And then I hurt my Achilles. It was bothering me, and I haven't been able to do it. And so I hope to get back there, and I can understand why people want to do it.
I broke up with a girl for doing marathons.
Oh.
Just specifically for that?
Ex-girlfriend. I was like, you doing too much. She used to be wanting me to come. I was like, you doing too
One of the
much.
great sports broadcasters in Cleveland history, John Telich, is a big runner.
Oh, he's a huge runner. He
mean,
does mutters and like ultra
All
marathons.
this stuff.
I'll explain it. I'll explain it in the
You're
break.
glossing over this. You did what?
Yeah.
She
I'm
kept,
sorry.
She kept wanting me to come to the races, and I'm like, but I'm only gonna see you start and finish.
Gee,
I don't see.
I'm gonna watch for 3 hours, 3.5
you are
hours
full
to see
of
you.
baloney. You did not dump her for that reason.
Yes, I did.
No, I don't buy it.
What's number 3? I believe you
I don't
did.
For the record, I'm not anti-running. I'm anti-running 26.2 miles. Okay,
Yeah.
number 3. If the sun's so hot, why is outer space cold?
Well,
Because there's no atmosphere to hold the heat.
I could explain that.
Think
you could
about
talk to him, but here, yeah, you're right. That was easy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
I don't get it. I don't get it. It
So,
should be hot.
so our atmosphere serves as a blanket,
He
and the heat, the rays, the UV rays come in, and they would otherwise be lost, but they're held inside that blanket,
Right.
and that heats it all
He
up.
wasn't-
So what if an astronaut cut the sleeves off his spacesuit? Would he get sunburn or frostbite?
He's dead.
Oh, he's dead
He'd
instantly.
be dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not
We
a
don't know.
science guy.
No, we
Things I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't
no,
want to. I don't want to
don't
find
you
out.
start that. Don't you start that. We don't know.
Yeah.
Not a
Pretty
science
soon
guy.
we don't know about nothing.
We know.
We know. That's
number
a-
no.
number 2.
All right, number
two.
2. We'll go back to sports. Why is the holder not down in football? Because he has a knee on the ground when they kick it. Doesn't that immediately stop the play? Shouldn't that immediately stop the play?
So the knee is down, and he
The holder's
is
knee.
holding
Think
the
about it. The
football.
holder's knee is down.
Well, I
on a
think
field goal
there's
extra point.
probably something in the vast NFL rule book that says the only time that a knee down and the ball in the player's hand doesn't kill the play is for a kick.
That is a
But you know-
ridiculous thing to have on that list. Those other things were at least interesting to talk about.
How did you think of that?
I mean, who
But
cares?
I understand him because if he goes and moves to run, like if they run a fake, he goes from on his knee with the ball to getting up running, which is that's kind of illegal.
You never
a little
thought
bit.
of this before. See, these are things I don't understand.
Yeah, Mikey McNuggets, thanks for making me think about that. I will say, so there's a, in college ball, if your knee is down, no matter
It's done.
what, you're down.
Play's over.
Except for kicks. But not for punts. Because I've seen a number of times where the punter, in bending down to get the snap,
Right.
touches his knee to the ground. And if he's got the ball in his hands and his knee touches the ground, the team takes over right there.
Yep.
That's it. No punt. That's the 4th down turnover.
There you go,
right
Mikey
there.
McNuggets. There's another top 5. Top 5 obscure rules in football.
I like it. Okay, this number 1, unanimous for me. Why is there the letter D in fridge, but not in refrigerator? There's no letter D in refrigerator.
Were you
but
really?
There's a letter
you
D in
weren't a
fridge.
spelling bee champion. That's fake.
I didn't make that graphic. Shout out Anthony. I'm actually a terrible speller.
Well,
but,
because
I was really impressed with his list through 3, and then he
Then
went
he
off the
faded.
rails.
Then
for
he
the
faded.
last
I
They
mean,
faded.
fridge is actually like it's a shortened version. It's like slang.
Right.
There's no fridge in the dictionary.
Yeah, and it rhymes with ridge, which has a D.
but it should be refridge, which also rhymes with
Well, no, now,
ridge.
but now your nickname has become 2 syllables.
Right.
Refridge.
See.
No.
Yeah,
It's fridge.
That
I
should
stand
be
by
on,
my
that should
list.
be
It
on a
makes no
different
sense.
list.
Okay, so pronounce it without the D.
Frig.
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 Like, that ain't it.
Well, why isn't it refrigerator?
Because you say refrigerator. It has an E-R-T-A-O-R at the end, and that makes it.
English is a weird language.
Yeah, why is read spelled read and repetition?
I mean, those last 2 are tenders worthy. Those are terrible.
Yes, tangy
The
tenders.
first 3 he gave were like interesting conversation pieces.
I
the
didn't
last
hate
2
the
were
list.
just.
You could have
I
said.
like the
These
list.
are things I don't understand. This is the list of 5 things
That's-
that Mikey McNuggets doesn't understand.
You know what it is? It's like,
Yeah.
why do you park on a freeway
Park on a driveway. And
Park on a driveway and drive on a parkway.
I didn't want to use the cliche ones. We could have gone on with the cliche ones.
Okay, well, those are all cool, I guess. You spend a lot of time thinking about stuff that I don't.
I called a lot a people yesterday to ask if these made sense to them or not. So shout out Taylor Travis, David Waxman, and a few others for listening to me.
C- list for today.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
We're doing good bet, bad bet?
We got good bet, bad bet. Yes, we do.
Improve.
And we're going to try using a tombstone here. So let's pull up the standings first, Steve. You have
Let's see
76.
what's happening.
Let's see what's
G.
poppin'.
Bush out to a commanding lead for our full-time panelists. Let's see it.
Oh,
G. Bush,
what?
15 and 7.
I don't understand this. When we were here Friday, I was winning. How did he take a 3-game lead when I was ahead?
You must have went
3-0.
0 for 3, and he went 3-0.
But even if he,
Sneaky.
I don't know. I think
Just
somebody screwed up the
understand it.
standings.
Yeah, the belt is yours for sure.
Understand it.
Wow, 15 and 7.
All right.
When we go into
15 and
jacks?
7.
Hey, I'm blackjack. I'm great at blackjack.
I love
but,
blackjack.
But we might have to leave early. I got a limit. Like
What's your limit?
My limit is if I lose.
What?
If I lose
How much?
more. If I lose more or half of what I came with, we got to go.
Oh,
so
okay.
if I said I'm gonna spend $100 and we go and it's 50 off bat, I got to get up. I got to.
Well, then we know you're not
take
a
a 20
compulsive
second
gambler.
timeout.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
All right, what's good bet, bad bet this week?
All right, you guys, besides G, we're all on the same wavelength again. So the first game, Guardians, 1.5 run underdogs at the Astros. G. Bush said good bet. Everyone else said bad bet.
Yeah, I'm not feeling the tribe now at all.
Group think. Y'all got group. Y'all got to go outside the box on these ones.
They playing the Stros now. Hold on now.
Hey, man, I'm just saying, man.
Come on now.
I got a couple game lead. I could throw these away.
Playing with house money, as they say.
Right now,
You got a long way to go.
All right, what's our second one?
Number 2 is the Adam the Bull special. Will Austin Hedges hit a home run tonight? Plus 1250 for yes. And none of y'all took the bait.
I mean, the plus 1250 doesn't really do anything in the betting.
Look,
It's not like we're
look,
playing
look.
for money.
No, but it tells you what a long shot it is for him to hit a home run.
Hedges has had 3 home runs in 88 games. 3.
Yeah, my man is
In the last 88
struggling.
games.
When he hits one tonight, I'm
I'm
coming
surprised
back
it's 3.
strutting tomorrow.
He has change up bat speed.
Well, listen, Bull sent a text to us, a group
Yeah.
text this morning, that says he thinks if anybody wants to go out on the limb and call this good bet, they should get
2 wins.
And
I
I
think
thought
so.
about
But we all
changing
bet no.
it.
Yeah.
But then I
thought-
thought this is Austin Hedges we're talking about.
I'll give you guys
and-
3 games. 3 games if he hits a home run. If any of you guys
No,
are,
see, now that's too big of a
That's
stretch.
too much because there's not that much damage in the
you
loss.
see how they doing it and change the rules
Right,
up
right.
on me.
Yeah.
Y'all got recount states. You Florida and you
Yeah, but we didn't adopt that rule. But I did think about if
see that?
it was a rule, would I do
Yeah.
it? All right, what's the last one?
last one. Celtics 6.5-point favorite tonight versus the Heat. Tyler Hero not playing. This line was before that was even
Wait,
known.
we didn't have any disagreement here.
No. Oh, no, G. Bush in the first one. G. Bush. in the
Oh,
first
okay,
yeah,
G.
yeah,
Bush,
yeah.
that's right.
But Tyler Hero not playing tonight, so
Right.
I think the Celtics
Well, he
are going
wa-
to win but not cover.
Look, he
I
wasn't-
think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I think they may win, but either way, I think it's going to be a close
3-point game.
By the way, can we talk about the pain that is the Western Conference semifinals right now,
Oh,
guys?
Well, here the Mavericks have run into a buzzsaw, right? There's clearly
game
they're-
2 is when
they're-
they let it
they're-
get away.
Well, here they're clearly outmatched, right? When the Warriors go small, there's nothing that the Mavericks
Warriors
can
are
do.
going to win it all.
Right.
told you.
The
I know.
problem for the Mavericks is this: they got a bunch of no-name guys. I'm like, you ain't got one guy that can even help out here.
Well, they have one, but that's the
No,
problem.
Luka.
One guy to help him.
After Luka.
After that, it's just a bunch of guys.
like-
it
Hey.
reminds me of the Cavs the year they got swept in the finals.
By the
they had
way-
LeBron and a whole bunch of stuff.
if Steph Curry wins the championship, he's over Durant for me.
Nah, I had to say I was eating on Friday night, right? And I'm sensitive to the Warriors here because I remember when they came in Cleveland. I just remember people in the stadium always chanting that little chant, "Warriors,
Come
Warriors." I was like, oh my God! And so
Have
then
you
when
seen that movie, by the way?
So then when
Yes.
he did this in the game, he hits the 3, and then he does this as the Mavericks are trying to make the comeback. He does this, and a friend of mine was like, "You still mad about this?" He did like this. Y'all go to sleep.
That is it.
I go to sleep. And then so I was listening to NBA radio the next day, right? So Rick Mahorn is on here, and they asked Rick about. He said, "What if Steph Curry was playing in the league when you were in, Rick? And Steph Curry would come down the lane? What would happen?" He started busting out laughing, and then this is what he said. Well, what would you do, Rick? He said, "Well, go ask his daddy, Wardell, what I would do." I was like, I just shrunk. I was like, I know exactly what
Steph
you would do.
wouldn't go down the lane in the old
Exactly.
NBA.
In fairness to Steph, and I'm an old school guy, as you know, I like old school basketball better. I don't think Rick Mahorn could make it in this NBA.
Oh, no, different game.
No,
Right.
because his skill set is
Right.
not valuable.
Doesn't work.
No,
Right.
there's no. It's like being an enforcer in
Right.
the NHL.
Right.
They had guys that could fight, but not skate or had no skills,
Right.
but they could fight.
Those guys are out.
They're out too.
He was like this, go sleep.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We're going to talk toughest Cleveland athletes
Love
of all
this.
time after
Oh,
the
yeah.
break. We
Yeah.
asked you for some of your suggestions. We're talking that because this guy right here has to be considered way up the list. We thought
We were
after
talking on
Thursday,
Friday, how long's he gonna
Friday,
be
we
out?
thought
Yeah.
he's done. He's done, and so
Yeah.
are the Guardians. He played over the weekend and didn't play poorly either. We're going to talk about that. And I think Mikey McNuggets has something to say about
special game? Yep, it's coming up.
The PGA Championship, which just wrapped up. Oh, God, did I feel sorry for the poor guy that choked. Oh, my God.
Hey, it's Adam the Bull for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and I'll tell you what I think of when I think of Cleveland sports. It's that everybody loves it. I've been to other parts of the country, and there's people that love sports and people that don't care. But in Cleveland, everybody cares even a little bit from every walk of life, and that's what makes this city special. Whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, it doesn't matter. The people of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio love their teams like nowhere else in the country.
News you can trust should be news you can rely on.
And every night at 11 on What's Next, you can rely on us.
A new legal twist for Brown.
Today also marks the beginning of
We're here, and we are going to continue.
So the Guardians have to play almost.
You can rely on us to help you go to bed better informed with stories that prepare you for tomorrow.
And with news that's relevant to your life. We'll make sure that you're ready for what's next.
Because being ready for tomorrow is what matters most.
We face challenges every day, some bigger than others, and we never know what's around the corner.
Through the highs and the lows, whatever we face it together. Each morning on Go, we are here with the facts, because what impacts you impacts all of us.
And understanding those facts helps us to make informed decisions for our families, our communities, and our future.
We are here for you every step of the way. Go, weekday mornings, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
Cleveland sports to me is bigger than anything. It's bigger than some people's marriages. They say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. No. Dallas is not America's team. Cleveland is America's team. And sports in Cleveland is a religion. It's a way of life. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Sports is a way for people in Cleveland to get together, and it's something that can't be replicated in Cleveland. Sports is a thing.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Time to talk Guardians baseball. They've been extremely disappointing the last 4 games. They were swept by the Reds at home, and they split against the Tigers. And guys, we always say, will they play meaningful games in September? I've changed my mind over the last 4 games because these are the teams you have to win series against the Tigers and the Reds. You can't split. They had Saturday's game was rained out.
I was going to that game.
Oh, that would have been a great game to
I
go
know,
to.
Bieber
A
was
Saturday
gonna pitch.
game against, by the way, Bieber. Oh, my goodness. That's another topic for another day. Anyhow, the Guardians have lost 3 of their last 4 to 2 of the worst teams in all of baseball.
Yeah.
And now you're feeling their season slip away. You're trying to reach for it and grab it, but it doesn't feel like it's going to work. Jose Ramirez, we talked about him on Friday. Thursday, he took one off the knee, and it looked like he was in big trouble. I mean, we thought this could be something that lingers into the season. No. He ends up coming back. He plays Friday. Not only does he play Friday, guys, he's 2 for 4.
Yep.
Broke his long homerless streak, so now he has 9 home runs. He had 3 RBI. That was in the big 6-1 win over the Tigers on Friday.
Yep.
Rained out Saturday. Yesterday played, was 0 for 2 in the 4-2 loss. But we can't emphasize enough that this guy is the do-it-all athlete that you want in Cleveland. He plays for under his worth. He re-signs a contract long-term that will likely keep him here through the bulk of his career, probably maybe into the end of his career, for less money than he could have got on the open market. No one does that.
Yep.
And he plays in his first year like it's his last year of his deal. We talked earlier about how Clowney comes to play in the last year of his deal. Jose's playing every single day like he's earning his paycheck that day.
And he hasn't missed much time in his career. He hasn't had many injuries.
I went back and looked.
Yeah.
So not counting the COVID-shortened year in 2020.
Right.
4 of the last 5 seasons, taking 20 out of the mix, he's played at least 150 games.
Yeah.
Nobody plays 162 anymore.
That's amazing.
So he plays every day. He plays at a high level every day. And it got us to thinking, Where does he fall in the conversation of toughest athletes in the history of Cleveland?
He might be on the list. It's hard to put baseball guys there because it's not a contact sport, right? And so when you look at some of these other guys, they may make your list. You talk about basketball. Basketball is it's just tough endurance-wise, especially you playing all those games, you playing back-to-backs, and then if you're good, you going. Basketball season starts when October.
Yeah.
But you got camp kind of in September,
Right,
and then if you're good, you're playing all the way to June.
Yeah, but in baseball, you're playing 162.
Well,
you're playing every day.
And there
without
is
a break.
contact in
Yeah.
baseball. It's not like there's never contact.
I'll give a baseball player a rose. The older they are, when you get up in the age, right, and you see guys still playing at a significantly high level.
Yeah.
At an older age, that's tough.
Cal Ripken has
That's
one of
tough.
the greatest. We talk about Iron Man. That record, there's records in baseball never be defeated. Just the sheer amount.
Yeah, no one will
of
ever come
games
close to that.
Every single day. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I'll
no one
give
will
it-
ever come close to that. You have him in your top 10?
I mean, yeah, he would be. He wasn't. I gave a top 5. We gave a list. Don't do mine first. Save me for the end. But he
Thanks
would
for
be.
last, right?
Yes, he would be in my top 10 in terms of current athletes right now in Cleveland. There's no doubt. I think he showed toughness consistently. He like we talked about, 150 plus games, 4 to 5 years. He's only had one injury that I can recall in his entire career that's kept him out for any kind of significant amount of time. It is tough, you know. When you listen, baseball isn't the same physical game that football is, of course, or even basketball. But when you have to be ready to play every single day, year after year after year, you're not, you know, at least in basketball, you're playing, 3 games a week?
Yeah, 3, 4.
You know, and nowadays, guys are sitting out once every 3 games. In baseball, you're playing, you know, and obviously not everybody's playing every day, but a guy like Ramirez is playing 6 games a week. That's a lot. Sometimes 7.
You know what scares me about that is the
Yeah.
fact, and it's kind of off the beaten path, but
Yeah.
if he's durable, he's cheap, he works hard, he doesn't give you any problems, that's one of the most tradable contracts in the game.
Can't.
At what
No trade clause.
No trade.
At what point do you feel he's going to be here duration of the contract?
Well, he
think
has to. He's got a no trade clause.
He would have to agree to it. Yeah, maybe they just signed him to the extension. They're not going to trade
And the
him.
Guardians would never, because he's a bargain, they would never trade
it doesn't make any sense.
So.
Maybe towards the end of his career, if they're bad and he wanted to go somewhere else to try to win the World Series, maybe. But I don't think he's getting traded anytime soon.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
Brad, let's do it this way.
Okay.
Because I think we all agree he's tough. Who's the toughest Cleveland athlete you've ever watched?
So I had on my list, there were a number of ones that came to mind. I'm going back in history.
Here we go.
Okay.
So, so I had Lonnie Shelton, if you
Brad's
remember.
got himself on his list.
No. So if you remember the Cavaliers,
Oh,
Lonnie
Shelton.
Lonnie Shelton was one of tough. He was just tough.
Yeah, he was tough.
You hear the old school players talk about, they didn't even want to see him. That's how tough he was, right? And then I was talking about older baseball players.
Yeah.
Gaylord Perry was tough,
He was
right?
scuffing up the ball.
Yeah, that's all right, but he was
I mean,
tough.
you've got to be tough if your name is Gaylord.
And then
too.
here, Satchel Paige,
Yeah, wow.
playing at the age he was playing at in
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah, he
Oh,
played
come on now.
well into his upper age. He was
Wasn't he like
50, I
70
think.
or something?
He was killing them, right? And then the ultimate is Jim Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go back and watch those films with Jim Brown. I'm like,
He was famous for taking 30 seconds to walk back to the huddle.
Yeah.
And, he was just like, looked like that was his last play he was ever going to play.
Yep.
And then the ball would be snapped, and they'd give it to him, and like he was shot out of a cannon every time.
Satchel Paige would pitch, and then he'd pitch again the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no
Yeah,
pitch
those
count.
guys were old
Now, I'm going back
Yeah.
in time,
That's
but
old
these
school,
are
yeah.
this is old school. This is
Hey,
old school.
you're an old
list.
timer. You're allowed to do that.
Any pitcher that
I'm an
pitched
old
before
timer, too.
1969 need to be on the list. If you pitched anywhere between before 69, you was throwing back-to-back shutouts at 12, 15 innings.
If the game went 15, you went 15.
Yeah,
pretty
complete
much.
games
Yeah.
were common.
Yeah.
And guys never came out for pitch counts.
Oh,
Relief
no.
pitchers in those days were guys who were like
Not good
old,
enough.
right? They weren't good anymore.
Yeah, hanging on.
Yeah,
Now they're
yeah.
specialists.
Yeah.
G. Bush, who's your toughest Cleveland athlete?
Well, man, I went with a couple of different dudes here. Tristan Thompson for me was a weird one, but Tristan Thompson played a lot of games. He had an Iron Man list going on there a little bit. Joe
did.
Thomas, 10 years in a row. That's crazy. The fact that as an offensive lineman, I always speak and say, you touch somebody every single play as an offensive lineman. You got to be physical. A receiver can run around and come back. The lineman is crazy. These other two, I'm going to put on here for different reasons. Ernest Biner was mentally tough. to be able to come back from that fumble and to have a respectable career.
Good point.
And
Won a Super Bowl.
And still be out here in the community. I mean, you got to think he was destroyed after that. That was people couldn't even come back from that. He came back, had a nice career, like you said, won a Super Bowl, got a Super Bowl ring. And Albert Bell, I would say, as far as tough,
he's scary.
He was the most literally intimidating dude.
You guys remember when he trucked Fernando Vina? He was in the baseline. He clocked. It looked like a fullback hitting a 150-pound cornerback.
Yeah.
And then he was like that with everybody. It wasn't just.
He was a bad man.
He was
You talk about born with a chip on your shoulder.
Good gracious.
Yeah.
That's a
He
bad
had
man.
a whole bag of them on his shoulder. You want to go last?
Yeah,
on
I wanna
this.
go last.
So I thought, I still do. I think I've got the mic drop guy.
Okay.
Joe Charbonneau, guys. Joe Charbonneau was a career minor leaguer. And this guy, the stories around Joe Charbonneau were legendary. He once cut himself and stitched it up with a needle. He gave himself stitches.
Yeah.
He would open beer bottles with his eye socket. Now imagine doing that.
How well do you know Joe?
I've played in a couple of celebrity tournaments with Joe, baseball and softball as well. I don't think we played in softball, but nope, softball, and I think maybe in a baseball one as well. So I got to know him a little bit. His career obviously was derailed by, oddly enough, I think it was a back injury. He was never the same. He never came back from it. He was the American League Rookie of the Year. He was a phenom in this city. If you're over 50 years old, you remember the legend of Joe Charbonneau. Guy was tough as nails.
He one time came down to a bar remote when I was doing the show.
Yeah.
And then he and I just sat and hung after. And I got to know him a little bit. You know, I wouldn't say
Tough
we're close
SOB.
friends, but couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah.
And then we played in a charity softball game, the same game that Travis Hafner played in at the Lake Erie Crushers Stadium.
Right.
And he's so awesome. He's such a down-to-earth guy.
We're not going to skim over the fact you say he opened
Over
a beer bottle with his eye.
That's true.
That didn't get enough love.
You're right. Hey, we had to, like OG said, hey, bring that back.
Yeah, we got to bring that back. He gave himself stitches.
That's crazy.
With like fishing line and a needle.
That's nuts.
Who the hell does that?
That's nuts.
Listen, he get the reward from me. Hey, if I see him in the streets, he get the belt. That I'm trying to figure out
He gets to dump his
logistically,
belt.
how do you put something in this little area right here? Logistically, how does that?
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's
So
nuts.
Bull's telling me
You
he's
guys
the greatest of
missed
all time.
The toughest guy, one of the toughest people in the history of America. The last guy on the list. I leave off Larry Doby.
Yeah, Larry Doby.
I thought about him. I did think
was
about him.
the first black player in the American League and the second black player in the majors.
I thought about Larry.
He made his major league debut in July 5th, the same year that Jackie Robinson made his debut. So it was what? Jackie Robinson, April 15th, so less than 3 months later.
Yeah.
It's not like things got better for black guys
did not.
in 3 months.
Yeah.
And he didn't, I don't mean to diminish what Jackie did in any way, but he hasn't been celebrated around the country
And
like
the city,
Jackie
he was
Robinson
breaking barriers in all the cities he was going to because there wasn't interleague play back then. So
That's right.
while Jackie was, breaking the barriers with the Dodgers, Larry was doing the same thing in all the American League cities.
Yeah, Larry Doby was amazing. Had to go through, like you said, everything that he made his major league debut in Chicago against the White Sox. It was the second game of a doubleheader, if I remember correctly, and I believe it was a record crowd. I guess it was Comiskey Park at the time. I can't think of it.
I don't know if Comiskey was in yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Comiskey at the time, but I believe it was the most black people that had ever attended a major league game.
I can believe
because
that.
a lot of people from the south side of Chicago,
Sure.
they came straight from the churches. They wanted to see him play. And unlike Jackie, who had time in the minor leagues, Jackie played in the minor leagues and had to deal with a lot of awfulness there too, obviously. But at least he had time to, I guess, connect, for lack of a better word, with some of his teammates. Larry Doby did not play in the minor leagues. He went straight to the major leagues and he didn't play much that first year. He was, I think Lou Boudreau was the manager, and he was like a pinch hitter. And a lot of players around the league were like, "Why is this guy here?" Because he was not very good when he first came to Cleveland. because he didn't play much. I think he was like 5 for 35 or something. He didn't look good, and then obviously the rest of his career, he was phenomenal. But what he had to endure.
Yeah. You just went to a different place. You went to the emotional, the mental toughness that it takes to not strike back, to hear all the things that he heard.
But not
not strike
the mental
back.
toughness, but the physical toughness too. When black players first started coming into the big leagues, Jackie Robinson, Larry Doby amongst them, as other guys started coming in too, they were getting hit by pitches purposely. You look at the numbers of hit by pitches for black players, the few black players that, as they came into the leagues after that, the numbers were like off the charts.
Yeah.
So he had to deal with the physical pain. He knew he and Jackie had talked. And they knew that they couldn't fight back. They couldn't respond. They had to maintain a calmness. That's toughness.
Yeah, you're right. He's tough. We're going to move along quickly. I just want to tell a story.
And by the way, real quick, one of his sons is a roadie for Billy Joel's band.
It doesn't get any cooler than
and
that.
I met him once. He was really cool.
I saw Billy when he was here at Progressive a couple years ago. What a show.
Yeah, amazing.
Quickly on Larry Doby.
Yeah.
Someone was telling me a story of Larry's career. Obviously, the players couldn't stay in the team hotel.
Right.
They had to stay in another hotel. So they're segregated even from their own team.
Right.
They also couldn't take the team transportation.
Right.
So they were boarding the team bus.
Right.
And someone told me a story of Larry Doby having to walk to the game, but he had to walk. Now picture this, guys. This is one of the, I don't know that I've ever felt emotionally gutted more than this for a sports story. He was walking to a game because he couldn't get a cab driver to take him in whatever city they were in. He was in spikes, his full uniform, ball cap and ball glove. Imagine seeing that.
It's nuts.
Walking to the game.
Nuts.
Because he was so separated from his team.
That happened in
Gutting.
That happened in our lifetime, by the way. I want people. This didn't happen.
No, it just not your lifetime.
Not yours. Not even mine. But
my parents, your grandparents, and your parents' lifetime.
Yeah.
A couple generations.
Yeah.
Like that. This isn't 1924 or something.
No.
This isn't World War I. This is like, hey. This is not that long ago.
A lot of people still alive.
You got to remember. You always remember where you come from.
By the way, he is recognized in Cleveland. And one other place, Montclair, New Jersey, where my wife grew up.
That's where he's from, right?
Lived.
Yeah.
That's where he lived. Yeah. And he became good friends with Yogi Berra, actually, later in his life. And they were really close.
Tremendous man. Hell of a player, too.
One other thing I wanted to mention for my list, the other guys, Stipe Miocic, who we haven't talked about at all.
Yeah, very tough.
Who's a Cleveland guy. To be a UFC fighter, you got to be pretty badass.
Those are some of the toughest athletes out there.
Yeah.
Mikey, you have a cool baseball stat. What is
we're going to go a cool stat and then the worst takes of the weekend. This was from Bob DeBasio. I'm going to say his name. DiBiasio. Excuse me. BD Baseball 6. Yesterday's meeting between the Tigers and the Guardians, the 2,270th game, they had exactly a 500 record heading into that.
That's
amazing.
insane.
That's crazy.
And that's also pretty much the yardstick for mediocrity.
Over 100.
Yesterday was a winner
Tigers
take all.
and the Indians and now Guardians. That's insane. So I guess you could say the Tigers own us. They have a one-game lead in a series that's 200.
Well, Michigan is the all-time lead against Ohio State.
I know they do because they racked up all the wins early.
All right, so let's get to the worst takes of the weekend.
Okay,
now.
what are
I
they?
was scavenging the internet for the worst of the worst. And we're going to start with this one from our friend, or it was Aditi, our friend, defending herself. Tony Grossi asked Aditi, "Are you a full-time employee of the Browns now? Don't hide behind it. Please clear it up." To which Aditi responded, "Good morning, Tony. I am not a full-time employee of the Browns as I attempt to restore some balance in my life and tend to my family. And before any full-time commitments begin again, I'm doing some work for a variety of folks. Thanks for asking. PSA, don't come at Aditi.
No, that's called killing someone with a smile on your face.
Let me say something.
Well said, Aditi.
Aditi handled that with a lot of class, but let me tell you something. I don't usually like to bash other media members. I think it's bad practice in general. I don't like Tony Grossi. I've never liked Tony Grossi. I haven't liked him the entire time I was here. I've alluded to it. I've never flat out said it. That was an attack at her credibility. He was way out of line. He should be ashamed of himself because his credibility has been questioned a number of times. Tony, that was a clown move that you did. And I will continue not to talk to you when I see you at training camp.
So
That's
I
disgraceful.
think the impetus to that, to Tony, Tony's attack didn't completely come out of the blue. He was responding to something that Aditi said that we kind of glossed over. What did she tweet that caught Tony's attention?
Yeah, we're going to get into this week. Pro Football Focus released their list of the 5 best cornerback duos.
Right.
The Browns came in at number 5, the first one off their top 4, which they tweeted. And
right.
Aditi said, hey, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome may want to have awards.
Yeah, and so
Word.
my point on that was she didn't even issue a take other than to say these guys might have something to say about it. I don't think it wasn't like she was being a homer or a shill for the Browns.
Exactly.
She just and I was surprised that Tony went there so quickly.
It was ridiculous. It was an unprovoked attack.
You ever be outside and you got a problem with somebody, y'all be playing basketball, they may have beat you or something.
Okay.
And you get back to the house and they be like, hey man, we had a good game today. What'd you say? It's premeditated. Like, hold on, bro. I just said it's a nice day outside, man. And what you nice day? What you mean?
Trying to allude to something here?
You trying to allude to what you did yesterday?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was something that was in your heart.
Tony's gutless. There was another time where Hugh Jackson kind of attacked Aditi at a press conference, and he and some of the others didn't stand up for her, which was classless. So he should be embarrassed himself.
I just didn't get that. To me, it seemed like completely unwarranted, out of the blue. Like, does he have a history with her? I don't know I don't know, but
I didn't get that.
And I tend to follow your rule. Like I have. Doing this job isn't easy, and everybody has a different role. Some are journalists. Yeah. Some are some opine, and your opinion is going to come into those things. Right. And I think Aditi's in a space now where she's trying to figure out her next move. Yeah. I love that she said she's trying to figure out a life balance. Thought she handled it with total class. Doesn't surprise me at all because that's who she is. Mike?
Okay, this is bad take number 2 of the weekend from Bob Kravitz of the Indianapolis Star. A repeat of Jonathan Taylor's output would be bad for the Colts. Now, let me remind you, Taylor led the league in rushing by 600 yards.
How would that be bad?
Touchdowns.
How would anything
That's
about
why it's
that
a terrible take. He says that if he repeats that output, it means Matthew Ryan, who they traded for, turned out to be terrible. But it's just a bad take.
That
just
doesn't make any
take.
sense. Nick Chubb could have a great year, and so could Deshaun Watson.
Well, maybe his take is, look, this is a pass-first league, and we know that, and teams tend to run because they can't pass. Right. Well, and that was definitely the case last year in Indianapolis. But they had a great runner, so they ran him.
Matt Ryan is like almost 40. I mean, he's a decent player. I don't know that he's that much better than Carson Wentz at this point in his career.
It's a bad take.
That's just. I get his premise. Yeah, it's probably what you said, Jay. You got to throw the ball to win.
I mean, and look at it this way: he led the league last year, and what did the Colts do?
By a lot.
Nothing.
But not because they.
Well, they faded down the stretch.
Had Carson Wentz not choked against the Jaguars the last week, they would have made the playoffs.
Faded down
but
the
if
stretch.
Carson Wentz wasn't that guy all year, Jonathan probably doesn't lead the league in rushing.
Yeah, but they probably allude to exactly what you said. A little bit more passing, a little less running.
I mean, the Titans have consistently gone to the playoffs with Derrick Henry leading them.
Well, he's the one back that I think defies any of that logic.
By the way, Carson Wentz's last year, where he played with the Colts, is almost identical to Baker Mayfield's 2020 season.
All right, bad take number 3.
Okay. I don't know what you mean by that, but okay.
Okay, so this one came from the PGA Championship yesterday. Mito Pereira needed to just par on the 18th to force a playoff.
Oh, yeah, this was
and
hard to
he
watch.
said this in his post-game interview. I was really nervous. I tried to handle it a little bit, but it was really tough. I thought I was going to win on 18. He double bogeyed, did not make the playoff.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things I've watched in TV sports in a long time. It was his. It's a massive payday. Over $2 million goes to the winner. He's a pretty unheralded guy who's trying to make his way. And for those that are old enough to remember Jean Van de Velde, who completely melted down on 18 of the 1999 Open Championship, he had a 3-stroke lead. And he hit not one ball in the drink, but he just kept hitting them in the drink. I mean, it was like a real-life Happy Gilmore.
Tin Cup.
Tin Cup, yeah. And you're watching this, and you're saying, this guy will never, ever recover from that. And as I'm watching Pereira, my thoughts were instantly of Van de Velde and how he let this seemingly insurmountable lead get away. And what I did like about the interview, though, Mikey, was he owned it, man. He talked about how the nerves overtook his body. And he didn't say these words, but he did almost. He basically said, I choked. That's what happened.
Were you locked into the golf? Because I wasn't watching.
No, I wasn't locked into it, but I did flip it on for the end, which is how I like to watch most golf. I like to see who wins, but I'm not going to sit there and watch 3.5 hours of golf on a beautiful Saturday or Sunday afternoon. No. But I do like watching the major championships just because of their historical relevance. But, man, that's a memorable Jean Van de Velde type meltdown. For years, people it crossed over golf. People would say if the Cubs blew a playoff game, that was a Van de Velde.
Yeah.
And Van de Velde never did anything after that. His career was smoke.
Have you ever choked at the line when you needed to hit a free throw and you physically could feel the nerves just coming on?
What was your
in a big
free
game?
throw percentage? We got to look that up.
Oh, mine?
Yeah,
Almost
you know
80.
what?
Almost 80%.
Now that's impressive because
Especially
most
for a
big
big
men,
man.
most big men struggle with the.
Don't check it.
You don't want me to check it?
That's
Don't check
impressive.
it.
That's
We
impressive.
got to get to bad take number 4 because
Yeah.
this is the most pressing of the takes.
All right.
Take the video and let
This
this
is
one play.
outrageous.
So, on Friday, after the show, Brianna, Anthony, and myself went to Slyman's. I got the corned beef like everyone said.
Of course.
Anthony and Brianna got cheeseburgers.
All right. This is a disgrace.
I ain't mad
What?
at you. I'm not mad
Brianna,
Fact.
Anthony,
Cheeseburgers.
they should both be embarrassed. I love them both, but they should both be embarrassed right now. You don't go. Who even knew they had hamburgers on the menu at Slyman? Did you guys even know that?
I didn't. I thought that's all they offered.
Well, then you can't. Then don't go to Slyman's. You cannot go to Slyman's. What?
Outside, I didn't want that much food.
Get out of here.
Terrible takes. I was
I order
embarrassed
a
to be
wrap.
next to them.
There's 100 places to get a good hamburger in Cleveland. You go somewhere else if you're going to get a hamburger.
Cheeseburger was okay.
It's like going to Pat's or Gino's in Philly and not ordering the cheesesteak. Like I don't even know if they have anything on the menu that's not a
You
cheesesteak.
go to
Maybe
Slyman's
it's
for
one
corned
burger
beef.
that day.
You could get
They
pastrami
they
is
went to
acceptable
Slyman's
too.
for the company. Maybe they just wanted a burger that
You go to
day, right?
Slyman's, you get
We
corned
got it
beef
to go,
or
Brad.
pastrami.
We got it to go.
That's
Oh,
it.
they got it to go and they still got the burger.
My God.
You know
That's
what?
just
I love
terrible.
my team, but I was embarrassed to
That's
be their leader on
unacceptable.
Friday.
Hey, it's
Unacceptable.
individual choice. Their bodies, their choices. They made it. I have to support it. I'm all for it.
No, I feel bad picking on Brianna, but Anthony, I don't know. No, you know, equal for everybody. They both should be embarrassed. Terrible job by both of them.
Brianna, you do you.
Come on now.
You do
Go
you.
somewhere else for a hamburger.
Get you a cheeseburger.
Hey, was
girl.
it a good hamburger?
It was good.
I mean, not a surprise, I guess.
And I'm good.
Okay,
Get
extra
your
pickles for
cheeseburger,
Brianna.
girl. Don't worry about that.
All right, Brianna, thank you. Mikey, thank you for the worst takes of the weekend.
You're welcome.
Final takes on the other side of our last break. Stay with us.
Hey, it's Adam the Bull for the ultimate Cleveland sports show. And I'll tell you what I think of when I think of Cleveland sports. It's that everybody loves it. I've been to other parts of the country, and there's people that love sports and people that don't care. But in Cleveland, everybody cares even a little bit from every walk of life. And that's what makes this city special. Whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, it doesn't matter. The people of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio love their teams like nowhere else in the country.
News you can trust should be news you can rely on.
And every night at 11 on What's Next, you can rely on us.
A new legal twist for Brown.
Today also marks the beginning of
We're here, and we are going to continue.
So the Guardians have to play almost. You can rely on us to help you go to bed better informed with stories that prepare you for tomorrow.
And with news that's relevant to your life. We'll make sure that you're ready for what's next.
Because being ready for tomorrow is what matters most.
We face challenges every day, some bigger than others, and we never know what's around the corner.
Through the highs and the lows, whatever we face it together. Each morning on Go, we are here with the facts, because what impacts you impacts all of us.
And understanding those facts helps us to make informed decisions for our families, our communities, and our future.
We are here for you every step of the way. Go, weekday mornings, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
Cleveland sports to me is bigger than anything. It's bigger than some people's marriages. They say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. No. Dallas is not America's team. Cleveland is America's team. And sports in Cleveland is a religion. It's a way of life. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Sports is a way for people in Cleveland to get together, and it's something that can't be replicated in Cleveland. Sports is a thing.
Final take time. Bull?
Yes, guys. You know, I'm someone that tends to be bothered, get aggravated. I wish I wasn't someone that got so aggravated, but it's just me. It's who I am. I get bothered by little things. So, you know, sometimes even a picture, what could be a harmless picture, will get on my nerves. Like, okay, there's a couple. They're cute. I don't have a problem with that couple. They look like, I see that couple, I see that picture, and I'm like, they look very lovey-dovey. I'm okay with them. Look at that picture. That's cute, too. Those first 2 pictures are nice. I got no problem with that. He looks a little phony, but but this picture. Oh, no. This picture got on my nerves. Every time Emily Mayfield sends an Instagram post out with her, why are they never hanging with anybody else? It's always just the 2 of them.
That's not true. Sometimes she has group pictures. Go back and look.
That doesn't fit my agenda, Jay.
I know Emily, and I like her, so I'm going to
bring that picture back up again?
Bring it back.
Like, how many hours did she spend to decide to wear that smiley face hat? Who wears that hat? Now, listen, you look at me, you know I'm a fashionista. I know what's going on around here.
Clearly.
I don't know. Why am I so aggravated by that picture? Why? I wish I wasn't. People could get mad at me. You hate Baker. I mean, I kind of don't like him. He's not very likable. I don't know what you want me to do. And now because she defends him all the time, she's joined my not likable list too.
It's his wife.
I'm a hater.
They just out trying to get a hamburger.
Just like, everything's a game. Everything's an excuse. Oh, we're in Seattle. Where are we now? Where in the world is Baker Mayfield? I don't know. The picture annoyed me. I know it's unfair.
You know why? Because you're old like me.
Yeah,
and we don't get that. Today's younger generation is all about the likes. Emily is all about the gram and how many likes and followers she has. She's built a brand on that based on who she has a relationship with, and she's maximized it. I know
she
Emily
deserves the fame. She's
Emily
very
worked
accomplished in her
with us
career.
here at Channel 3 for a couple of years. I got to know her. She's actually a very good feature reporter.
Probably really nice.
She
Maybe
is a
he's nice
super
too, but
nice person. There's been times that she's said and tweeted things I wish she wouldn't. But it is what it is. It's young kids, and we're old dudes living in their world.
Yeah, I know. Send the hate messages my way.
G. Bush, who you hating?
Nah, I ain't hating.
That's a segment for Bull. Who you hating?
I'm going to show some love, man. Listen, I always take pride in this, man. See, sometimes you got to go back to the old school. See, you might have some money in your pocket today, but tomorrow, that machete could come at any second. I was looking around my house, I'm like, man, I ain't going grocery shopping, but I ain't ordering no food neither. So what we doing here? I looked in the back of my freezer.
What was in there?
Found me some of these pot pies. Woo! I'm going to tell you something. Listen, don't disrespect that poor people food, that 39 cent. I'm with you, McNuggets. That 39 cent pot pie. Look, I put that boy on 450. I even mixed the turkey and the chicken. It all tastes like one bird. I'm going to tell you what. That pot pie with the crust on the side. I was sitting there Indian style, like I had a gourmet meal. The chicken pot pies get it done. I'm going to have to go take a look at Giant Eagle tonight. Pot pies is right back in my list, baby. But you can't eat too many of them. It's like 450 calories or something, one pot pie. But as long as I stay under 2, but I see you, Popeye.
Did it have those freezer flakes out?
How long was it in there?
The ice cream's been in too long.
I didn't look at the back of that box. Nothing.
Have you ever gotten the chicken pot pie soup at Zoop before?
Yes.
That's good stuff.
You know it's not chicken or turkey, it's crow. You're up, Brad. Go. Go, Brad.
I'm sandwiched here between the pot pie.
That's why it's so cheap.
And the Baker hater. I like no, listen, we stay away from people's wives.
We got to be out of here at
kids.
1 o'clock today.
So real quick.
So we got to go.
I'm the political guy that doesn't really weigh in on the politics in this forum, but today I have to.
Okay.
Jay and I were talking earlier. The one thing I wish for Cleveland, and when I say Cleveland, it's not the city of Cleveland, but it's Cleveland in general. Let's stop playing around with things, right? Things that need to get done, let's just get them done. Figure out a way to get them done, right? I stand out on Channel 3's balcony and I can see Lake Erie. But when I'm on the ground floor, I can't see Lake Erie, right? We got to resolve that, right? Mm-hmm. And I said we, not the city of Cleveland, we have to resolve that. I'm looking at Burke Lake Front Airport, right? Why is that in the way here, right? You want population downtown, let's get it going here, right? Brown Stadium, we want to revive that area so it becomes thumping. We know the place that this place can be. But forever, whatever, and even in the things we're working on, the convention center, things of that nature, we're talking about things way too long here, right? Some of this stuff just needs to get done, right? Get it done, period, point blank.
Amen.
Right?
Let's develop
the problem here is we get in our own way. And I think sometimes, Jay, we're afraid to be great. It's like a problem. We have an excuse. What excuse can I use not to be great? Well, stop using excuse. Let's just be great.
I say our city council and mayor just take a road trip to Chicago. See what Cleveland could be, what our waterfront and lakefront could be.
Awesome.
Granted, Lake Michigan and their water, it's a little prettier than Lake Erie. Theirs is more blue, ours is brown, but your point's a good one. I'm going to punt on my final take because we're out of time. I want to do this. I'll tell you what it was going to be. It's the Browns kicker and why everybody seems to hate that move, but I think it was the best pick they've had in the draft.
Jay, we'll make that a
year.
segment this week. That'll be a segment.
Let's do that as a segment because I love it. I love it. I love it. Just look at the other kickers in the division. You need one. We haven't had one, and now we've got one. Wednesday on the program.
Wednesday.
I've been teasing this big special guest, OSU football coach Ryan Day on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Wednesday. Let's hear it, Buckeyes.
I'm happy.
Let's hear it, Buckeyes. Also, tomorrow's show, best defensive back duos. That's off with the Pro Football Focus rankings. Watson's HBO special. That's going to be, everybody's talking about that. What is it going to look like? We'll be talking about that on tomorrow's show. And also our weight loss update. It's Tuesday. That means Bull and G. Bush tip the scales to see who's lost the most weight.
Yes.
We've got 10 seconds to get out of here, so I'm done. We'll see you tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Mikey McNuggets, I did it. It's not yet 1 o'clock.
Let's go.